19th century may just be the key to solving one of our forgotten robber barons of the 19th century may just be the key to solving one of our country's most pressing issues: political corruption. Their names were William Clark and Marcus Daly, but they were better known as the Copper Kings. Flash forward to 2024, and the Montana Senate race just had a record total spending of $315 million, which is $487 per registered voter in Montana. If it wasn't clear before, it's now become painfully obvious that our political system has been completely taken over by corporate money. We still have robber barons buying political power in this country. They just hide behind PACs with unremarkable names. In the past few years, there's been a significant momentum shift from the public to prevent corporations from purchasing political power.
Passionate protesters packed the north lawn of the state capitol. They're all opposing the Trump administration and our country's billionaires. Labor unions say they're reminding Americans of the power of the working class, calling out billionaires and their outside role in our country's politics.
Voters have become increasingly critical of candidates who take super PAC and large individual donations. And while this movement has not had an effect in Congress as of yet, Montana may be leading a statewide effort for other states to follow. To understand how, we need to go back 125 years to 19th century Montana. Edison had just invented the light bulb, and suddenly the need for copper in the United States had absolutely exploded. While most pioneers have been mining for glamorous metals like silver and gold, two men in Montana immediately understood the opportunity at hand. William Clark, a wealthy trader of mining supplies turned banker, used this demand to build a mining empire in Butte, Montana. He was not alone, however, as an Irish immigrant by the name of Marcus Daly was busy building his own empire to rival Clark's. Their generation would prove to be one where wealth and power was more consolidated than ever before in American history. Some call it the Gilded Age, others the robber baron era. Unless you live in Montana, you probably haven't heard of the two Copper Kings. But that doesn't mean that these two weren't amongst the worst robber barons in early American history, and both of them would be worth billions today. At the time of his death, Clark was thought to have accumulated over $300 million, or $4 to $5 billion when adjusted for inflation in 2026. The two quickly became bitter rivals in their pursuit to strip Montana of as much natural wealth as possible, and even bought newspapers to attack each other in the media. The two fought over the control of the state legislature, a tussle that Clark eventually won with significant bribery and corruption. This is the same man who Mark Twain called as rotten a human being as can be found anywhere under the flag. Clark, with the help of his son, paid off mortgages and debts of the state legislatures, and even handed over huge envelopes of cash to successfully land himself a seat in the Senate. This was during a period when senators were not elected by voters directly. Instead, state legislatures chose for them. However, his victory was short-lived as the Senate began a short and conclusive investigation that determined he gained the seat through bribery, and resigned before they could formally expel him. In 1901, after his major financial and political rival, Daly, died, he simply funded the campaigns of a new set of legislators who would return the favor, and found himself soon serving that Senate seat he so desperately wanted for the next 6 years. Clark and Daly's empires were eventually combined into one company, the Amalgamated Copper Company. This company was so powerful that when it didn't get the laws it wanted passed, it simply threw out 20,000 workers into the streets until politicians in Montana caved to their demands. The corporate political machine invented by Daly and Clark was so damaging that not only did it contribute to the passage of the 17th Amendment, which called for the direct election of senators, but it also ended up being the trigger for the 1912 Corrupt Practices Act. The Corrupt Practices Act effectively banned corporate money in Montana for the next century, until 5 Supreme Court judges changed everything we knew about money and politics. In 2010, the most consequential Supreme Court ruling in the 21st century was determined by a single vote. Citizens united.
Supreme Court had said that corporations are not political entities, they're economic entities, and they exist for business purposes. And now the Supreme Court has taken that wall down and said, we're going to open the floodgates so all of that corporate money can pour into our elections. That makes it very hard on people fighting for the environment, fighting for working people's rights, fighting for human rights when you've got the corporations controlling everything with money.
While the mechanism of buying political power is slightly different now than it was 100 years ago, the concept remains largely the same. Those politicians who accept large donations from super PACs and other wealthy individuals will be indebted to those dark money donors for the rest of their political careers. Although the federal Supreme Court had just opened the door to unlimited corporate cash in politics, Montanans refused to give up that easily. A Montana Supreme Court decision in 2011, Western Tradition Partnership, Inc. versus Attorney General, ruled that Montana's Corrupt Practices Act still applied to Montanans despite the Citizens United case. After losing their case on the state level, Western Tradition Partnership appealed the decision all the way up to the Supreme Court, where the Montana Supreme Court decision was reversed without so much as an oral argument allowed. After the 2012 reversal of the Corrupt Practices Act, there only seem to be two options on the table. The first and more direct option is to create a constitutional amendment to confront corporate spending in politics head-on. This would require a 2/3 vote from a Congress that has been largely supported or funded by these dark money super PACs, so we know that's not happening. The other known path would be to reverse the Supreme Court ruling, which would be even taller task. 3 of the 5 judges who ruled in favor of Citizens United still hold positions on the Supreme Court, and the current court has no signs of revisiting the ruling. So how in the world are we supposed to solve this problem? This is a bipartisan issue, and a YouGov study shows that 79% of people want corporate money out of politics, yet the only known options we seem to have are completely impossible. Well, not if Montana has anything to say about it. The Transparent Election Initiative, a Montana-based nonprofit, has put together a new idea on how to eliminate the corporate money flowing into their state, and they call it the Montana Plan. The plan works like this. While it's a legality that's been seldom explored since the 1800s, states have the sole right to create a corporation and the sole authority to grant that corporation its powers. In the past, states have been incredibly reluctant to utilize the significant lever of power that's at their disposal. States grant corporations the power that allow it to function, like the ability to own property, the ability to enter contracts, the ability to sue and be sued, limited liability for shareholders, and the ability to spend money on elections. What if the state just decided to not allow corporations to even have the ability to spend on elections? Corporations can't argue that it violates the Citizens United ruling, as that was about protecting a company's right to free speech. That right to free speech is meaningless if the state never granted them the power to exercise it. Now, I have to be honest with you guys. There is a chance that this might not work. This would directly negatively impact a group of very wealthy businessmen in this country. In fact, a coalition of Montana businessmen have already created a lawsuit in order to stop this effort before it even gets started. The coalition, of course, is a who's who of the usual suspects: Montana Mining Association, the Montana Petroleum Association, and even the state's Chamber of Commerce have joined forces to defeat the Montana Plan. While the opposition group is clearly very powerful, this is a clear sign that they are running absolutely scared. And they really should be. The leader of the Transparent Election Initiative, Jeff Mangan, has brought together an Avengers-level team of Montana political leaders for this Montana Plan. And the best part is, they're completely bipartisan. This team includes former Republican governor of Montana and chairman of the RNC, Mark Rathkekote, former Democratic U.S. Senator John Tester, and former independent candidate for Congress, Gary Buchanan. This once again shows that this is not an issue limited to one party or one belief system. It is an issue that has become a cancer to the structure this country is built on. If we don't act quick, we may just lose our one opportunity to defeat the corporate money monster that Citizens United has created. Some of you may be asking, what can I do to help? What are the next steps? Well, we need 30,000 signatures across 34 districts in Montana by June 19th in order to get this thing on the ballot. A lot of people don't know about this initiative, and those who do likely don't realize how realistic it is that it might just work. If once it's on the ballot, it just needs a simple majority to pass. Simple as that. This movement doesn't stop in just Montana, as supporters in nearly 20 states are already working on similar efforts. Hawaii has already passed a bill through one chamber of its legislature, and California, New York, and others have active bills. Should the Montana plan make it on the ballot and pass, we need to make sure that this spreads across the country like wildfire. Thanks for watching.
I wanted to air this because I got sent this and I saw this and I watched most of it. I didn't see it all this morning. It's like 30 minutes long, but I watched part of it. And the guy's saying he's criticizing me because you do that, you don't get banned by the algorithm. And he's just one server coming on the waves we created. So he pretty much gets it. I thought it was entertaining and informative. He's also got a pretty ridiculous name, Extra Chill Goblin. We always like goblin jokes. I don't know why. I mean, goblin jokes years ago, they became super viral, so whatever. Yeah. We'll air that. So here's Extra Chill Goblin, and then Harrison Smith takes over. Here it is. Extra Chill Goblin. He pretty much gets it. Dirty. He's also got a pretty ridiculous name. Extra Chill Goblin Vomit, Slop, and Blood. I thought it was entertaining and informative. He's got a goblin guide charging into a goblin's nest. I don't want to see him kissing goblins. I just don't want to catch him in bed with a goblin. Literal empire belly goblins are hobbling around coming after us. Extra chill goblin.
Extra Chill Goblin. It's the song that we all love. What's going on, everybody? It's Extra Chill Goblin time. It's Wednesday, 12:15, and I have just realized that my hair is bad, but that's fine. Whatever. Hey, listen, we don't care about material things like hair. Is hair a material thing? I don't know if that technically counts. What's going on, Hannah? What's going on, Daddy Toluca? Rushing at work so you can get home and join in. Hello, people. I'm just, I'm just glad to be awake and doing stuff. Oh man, is that true? Am I awake? Glad to be awake anyway.
That was a bald-faced lie.
Well, that's okay. All right, called out. We just watched video. Just watched this video, Montana's plan to destroy Citizens United.
Our country's billionaire.
Great video. I liked. I didn't intend to watch the entire thing, but it was good. It's good. Shout out to Qlued in, Qlued in. Now that almost makes me think it's like a QAnon page. But no, it can't be. It seems more bread tube than QAnon, right? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. There's a fine line, really. Killers of the American Media, the Paramount Warner Brothers deal. MSSP. Oh, the Matt and Shane podcast. An American Conversation. Interesting. Yo, okay. This all seems interesting. Description: investigating stuff that interests me. Interesting. Shorts, the Dark Money in Politics, playlists. Cool. Yeah, awesome. I'm a little curious. So this is about Shane Gillis's podcast.
2016 was a monumental year for Americans, not only politically, but culturally as well. Many people, especially in Gen Z, still look back on 2016 with a deep sense of nostalgia. The nostalgia isn't always...
2016, was that when Shane Gillis got canceled? He lost his thing on SNL? Was that 2016? Damn.
The same thing, whether it's the revolutionary music, the historic sports moments.
The Cubs have finally won it all! The Cavaliers are NBA champions!
The beginning of the Trump era.
I am officially running for President of the United States.
Or the last of the Obama administration.
We will continue our journey forward and remind the world just why it is that we live in the greatest nation on earth. Thank you, America. God bless you.
Obama in 2008 to 2016 instituted perhaps the most progressive U.S. policies since FDR. For example, gay marriage was legalized, the Affordable Care Act was passed, and the U.S. helped create the Paris Climate Agreement in an effort to address...
Well, I want to hear more about comedians Shane Gillis and Matt somebody. Where do we get into all that stuff? Oh, I see. Okay, now he's talking about Schultz and stuff. Oh, what's this?
When Trump took the debate stage with her, he would sling insults and make jokes like he was talking shit with his buddies on the golf course.
Because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet. Excuse me.
You're the puppet.
My turn.
A lot of creators on YouTube have talked at length about Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Theo Vaughn, and their sphere of influence that grew into a conservative propaganda machine. As more and more people have realized what a second Trump term looks like, the right-wing comedian space has received significant backlash. This backlash was encapsulated perfectly in Elephant Graveyard's newest viral video.
Dear Leader is a billionaire, but instead of running his own show, he's still partnered with the tech establishment.
All right. Anyway, hey, listen. This seems good. I don't know. I'm curious to hear what the take is.
To the red-pilled ideologies that gripped young, predominantly white men since 2016. This particularly interested me because I was, in fact, a young white male during this 10-year period, and I saw this effect in real time.
Sure, me too.
Now, I'm not trying to lay the blame of an entire cultural shift on two dudes talking shit into a microphone.
Well, there was a thing with Shane being like, he was, from what I understand, SNL hired him specifically because they were looking for a pro-Trump writer. Like they were like, we need more diversity in here. We need more diversity in SNL overall. So that was when they cast Bowen Yang, the first gay SNL cast member, I believe, openly gay anyway, and the first Asian. So, is that right? Yeah, I think both of those are right. Which is nuts, by the way. Whole other thing on that. But then also in the name of diversity, they also hired Shane to be, a MAGA writer for SNL. That's my understanding. And then, what's the guy's name? Seth Simons. He looked up a bunch of shit of Shane on his podcast talking about, I don't know, just doing racist voices and stuff. So it was interesting. It was interesting timing, we'll say. Anyway, okay. I'll watch this another time. I'm curious to see how things go here. But definitely, shout out to Qlued podcast YouTube channel. They seem good. I'm going to give you guys another. Oh yeah, that's true. Hot Goblin, first openly Asian. Is that right? That seems crazy. First Asian SNL cast. Is that right? SNL I wrote, not SNL. Bowen Yang, the first Asian cast member. Wow. First openly Asian. That's crazy. First gay SNL cast? Oh, Terry Sweeney. Okay. Terry Sweeney. Oh, yes. Okay. No, we knew this. Okay, this was in season 11. Every LGBTQ cast member in Saturday Night Live history. Huh. Denny Dillon left after just one season. The first LGBTQ. Okay, I don't even know about this guy. Denny Dillon. All right. And this one's Terry Sweeney. Partner was a writer on the show. Was bullied by Chevy Chase. Left the show after just one season. Denitra Vance. She wasn't out when she was on the show. She left after just one season. Kate McKinnon. Yeah. So I guess, yeah. Okay, John. And this guy left after one season too, right? Yeah. Sashir Zamata. Huh. Really? I didn't realize that she was a lesbian. I saw her do stand-up a few years ago, and she was talking about her boyfriend. So, okay, but then she came out in 2024. Bowen Yang. So I guess we can say Bowen Yang, the first openly gay Saturday Night Live cast member to last more than one season. I always thought he was the first one. I know that James Adomian, who is like the perfect SNL, like, style comedian, he had tried to join SNL, but had hadn't been picked. Let me see if I can find a video of him talking about this. Calling out Saturday Night Live. Reject. Comedian James Adomian is calling out Saturday Night Live for its long-standing lack of queer representation. Okay. So I guess this is wrong, because maybe this is where I heard that this about SNL, that so they only hang on. Why has there never been a James? So despite being amazingly talented, James Adomian never made it onto Saturday Night Live despite auditioning multiple times. So why has there never been a James Adomian SNL episode? Adomian says it's because he's openly gay. Adomian points out in the entire run of SNL, there's been exactly one openly gay performer. That'd be Terry Sweeney. Remember him? Who lasted only one season, 85 to 86. Chris Kelly became the first openly gay head writer or co-head writer in 2016, but he left SNL 1 year later. Sebastian Gorka. Yeah, I did like his Gorka impression.
Good evening, Mr. Chapo. It is I, Gorka, son of Moonraker, cup holder of the sacred tit of Attila, the Dragon of Budapest. It appears to you that I may have resigned. Your understanding is quite wrong, Mr. Chapo.
Right. No, I'm talking about openly gay men. Openly gay men. It is weird. Like, hey, lesbians are gay too. Lesbians get to be openly gay, of course. But I feel like in comedy, lesbians have always been have always. Let me think about how I want to phrase this. I think that like lesbians have always been more accepted in comedy than gay men. And that's so crazy because gay men are so funny, you know? You know what I mean? Isn't that odd?
As Sun Tzu said.
Anyway, I like Adomian's impressions because he does like a pretty good impression, but then he also sort of exaggerates it and does more of like a caricature thing than a perfect impression, and he adds in his own things that just add comedy value to it. I don't know if that makes sense, but he's not doing like a, he's not just doing like, like an AI, like, voice cloning, like some people, like that's really impressive too. Like when people do that, like James Austin Johnson, who's on there now and does Trump, his Trump is like amazing. It's like spot on, perfect. But like Adomian would do one that would be like at least 80% as spot on as James Austin Johnson's, but he would like figure out what was funny about it and exaggerate it a little bit, and he kind of, I don't know, I feel like his impressions are like just on their own funny. I don't know if that makes sense. Oh yeah, James Austin Johnson's Trump is amazing. He's the best. But yeah. I guess this was an interview he did with the Daily Beast. SNL has a problem casting gay men. So this is all. Was this before? Okay, 2018. So I suppose this was before the Bowen Yang, right? No, not Bowen. No, well, yeah, no Bowen Yang mentioned. So it must be before. He's never been on SNL, doesn't have his own late night show. There's a good chance you've never heard of him. 38-year-old comedian has some ideas about why that might be, and it has a lot to do with being a still all too rare out gay male comedian. It's easy to rattle off a list of very successful, here you go, lesbian stand-up comics: Ellen DeGeneres, Tig Notaro, Wanda Sykes, Margaret Cho, Rosie O'Donnell. But has there ever been a hugely successful out gay male comic? I would say that RuPaul's Drag Race has changed this a little bit, changed the culture, made people be like, actually, there are some funny gay guys. Actually, some gay guys are really funny. Perhaps even more shocking is the fact that there hasn't been an out gay male full-fledged cast member on SNL since Terry Sweeney, which I suppose we know is not true. There was a couple other guys. Terry Sweeney, Denny Dillon. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Oh, Denny Dillon is a woman. Sorry. Okay. I did not know. She was out to her colleagues on the show, not to network executives. Interesting. So Terry Sweeney, and then John Milsner. I guess this was the person that. I mean, but who even knows who this guy is? Not me. Search DuckDuckGo. Let's see. I guess there won't be a part on his page, on his section on his Wikipedia that's like, this is when he came out of the closet. Made his debut on SNL December 28th, 2013. On July 15th, 2014, it was announced his contract was not renewed. So he got fired. Damn. When asked about getting fired from SNL, Milheiser reflected, 2014 was the year he felt the least funny. Whoa. I guess like after he got fired, I'm guessing. Or maybe he means before. Maybe he's like, that's why they fired me. Anyway. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Eddie Izzard. So funny, actually. One of the few British comics that I actually have enjoyed. I'm covered in bees. I remember like cracking up so hard at some old Izzard specials in high school. Should revisit that. Anyway, okay. It'd be nice if they put a gay man on camera on that show. Adomian tells me, been out of the closet the whole time since I auditioned 13 years ago. You'd think they would have tried to put someone else on that was a gay man. It's about time. SNL is notorious for passing around audition tapes. It happened to me. It happened to Anthony. It's happened to other people I know. Huh? What are they talking about? SNL declines to comment for this piece. Jack Wiseman, a young comedian who created and co-stars in the Comedy Central series Corporate, recently told me he knows exactly why someone as talented as Adomian never got hired by SNL. Because he's gay, Wiseman said matter-of-factly, because they're bigoted. When I suggest that might not be the case in 2018, he replied, I mean, the guy at the top's the same. People are just calling it out more. It certainly didn't help that I was openly gay, Adomian said of his audition experience. Excuse me. I think that Lorne Michaels is afraid of America's dads. He imitates a middle American straight guy saying, I'm not going to let my kid watch a show with a gay man. He predicts the trend will change sooner or later, but it's up to Michaels whether he'll be a part of that change or not. Ooh, harsh. And honestly, that tracks for me. Because, Lorne Michaels is a very kind of like cold, calculating guy, at least, from what I can tell. So it makes sense that maybe he himself isn't whatever, like, extremely homophobic, but he's at least like, yes, well, it does seem like, I can't quite do a Lorne Michaels impression. Yes, well, maybe I'm fine with it, but what about America's dads? What are they gonna think? On the first night of South by Southwest, blah, 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 blah. Adomian, hang on a second. Talking about Bernie Sanders here. I mean, okay, all right. Now it seems like they're talking about other interesting stuff. Okay, no, it wouldn't have been right if the whole thing was about SNL. Cool. All right. Well, what should we get? What should we talk about? What should we do? What should we say? What do we know? What do we say? What do we know? What do we say? Yes, Dressed to Kill. I think that's the one that I was talking about. But I remember like seeing like a bunch of his or hers rather. I know that they're a trans woman now. She's a trans woman, but I remember when I was getting into them, they were, I guess, she was I guess cross-dressing. I think the word that she used at the time was transvestite, but now is out trans woman. But yeah, Eddie Izzard, really good. And she still goes by Eddie Izzard, yeah? I'm out of the loop a little bit. Gotta admit. Okay. No, I got some stuff to talk about. Oh, this could be fun. What did I have here? Clued in, of course. Ooh, okay. Yeah, okay, no, this is wait, how many people? Okay, 22 people watching. That's enough to get into this. Okay, this was really interesting. So Tara Palmieri is a reporter. She's reported on Epstein stuff for a long time. She has done, I would say, the best Epstein podcast called what's it called? Broken, I think. I think she'll plug it on this, but it's like I think it's at least 2 seasons long, and then there's another season it's called Power, the Maxwells, and she gets into Robert Maxwell's history, and they're all amazing. And part of what made her series on Epstein so good was she was like touring around fucking America with Virginia Giuffre, the most outspoken Epstein victim, trying to confront all of these people who Virginia Giuffre knew, and Virginia knows that they know what Epstein was doing. She knows all this shit, and she's just like trying to get them to be like, and they were always really nice to her. And Virginia's, you just hear her like she's so full of hope and like she's so like determined. It's really like kind of heartbreaking because most of the time she'll be like, yes, no, he's a great guy. Like I remember he was the chef at Epstein's, and he like, he saw me having a hard time a few times, and he really helped me out, and but he knows everything, and he'll be able to vouch for me and say, and I know he will. as soon as we see him, but then they'll just refuse to see her. They'll get up to the person's house and they'll have like some, security thing, and they'll be like, "We're calling the police. You got to go." And she can't even talk to them. It's brutal. And it's rough. But anyway, sorry, that podcast is very good. But recently I've seen her do a couple things about someone that I thought was interesting, because I haven't seen that much about him. Oh, I shared this with myself. Wow, cool. Chilliam J. Goblin. That's my real name, not to dox myself. It's my full first, last, and middle initial. But anyway, no, this is Tara Palmieri's page. An original investigation from the Red Letter, analyzing new documentation and new insights from sources for a definitive assessment of how Jeffrey Epstein peddled access to John Kerry. Now, I've had this photo for a while. This photo's been around for a while. This is John Kerry in the middle. On the left, Jojo Fontanella, Epstein's New York house manager and driver. And on the right, that's Lynn Fontanella, his wife, and also Epstein's New York maid. So this is quite interesting, right? I mean, this is it. So we know. So this is Epstein's New York mansion. We know that. Okay. We only have this because Jojo and Lynn Fontanella were very cheesy, like, I don't know, boomer, I guess, Filipino couple. Not actually quite sure how old they are. I believe Jojo's passed away now, but they had a joint Facebook account, another classic old couple move, where they posted a bunch of photographs, like poorly taken, like this, like digital photographs. They took of like printed out photographs of them with celebrities. And there's a bunch of them. There's them with Bill Clinton. There's them with who else? Hillary Swank. There's what's her name? Prince Andrew's Prince Andrew's Fergie. Sarah Ferguson. Like you go through their Facebook, and it's just a bunch of photos of like them and their huge family having these big family get-togethers. And then there'll be like stuff like this. And you're like, what the heck? So it's actually quite a good documentation of like who was coming to at least visit Epstein's New York mansion. Yeah, quite interesting. So that's who is in that pic? This one here. This is John Kerry. You remember John Kerry? John Kerry was a presidential candidate. I don't even know what I'm looking for here. John Kerry was a presidential candidate. He was a senator during what's his name? Joe Biden's term. He became the secretary of something or other. Whoa, this is an interview with Colbert from 4 weeks ago. But he's largely been left out of the conversation on Jeffrey Epstein. And I feel like that's noteworthy. Because it does seem like he definitely had a connection with him, which we've known about for a while, but it's never been super proven. But I'm very curious where this goes. But anyway, here, I'll just bring it up to, but this dude, he's recently had like a lot of influence in, Israel and kind of like the Middle East. I'm not exactly sure what was his like exact title. Secretary of something or other. Secretary of State. Oh, damn. Okay. So he got like the big one. Yeah. Yes. Kerry was the Democratic nominee for president of the United States in the 2004 presidential election, losing to then incumbent President George W. Bush. And this would be around the time that this photo was taken. So, like Epstein has had a lot of fucking, what do you call it? Pots on the stove or whatever. He's been trying to become friends with presidents and presidential candidates and stuff. He's been doing this for a while. And very, very interesting that he had some kind of a, friendship or some sort of connection with Kerry. But I hadn't really heard I'd heard whispers upon the wind of rumors about him, but nothing super confirmable. But let's watch this interview. Let's watch this interview with Tara Palmieri.
We're going to start with a really interesting interview and topic for you guys. Tara Palmieri is going to join us. She's got a great Substack, where the Red Letter, where she has written a lot about Epstein and covered it from day one. And now she's got a breaking news about John Kerry, the former Democratic presidential candidate and Secretary of State.
Breaking news, like what the heck? I haven't seen this yet, and I subscribe to Red Letter, but I don't pay for it, so I wasn't able to see the full post here. Although maybe I should just claim my free post. Anyway, but I'm really curious. I would like to know what this is about.
And his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, let alone all the other Democrats, let alone foreign diplomats, a lot of names you might not have heard before. So Tara, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Cenk. It's always a pleasure.
No problem. So tell us about John Kerry and Jeffrey Epstein's connections.
Well, it's something that I learned about actually in 2019 through Virginia Giuffre. She is one of the most prominent survivors.
This is another thing that is surprising. She mentioned this in like the free part of her article as well, that she was tipped off about John Kerry's involvement by Virginia, who is, and that's sort of astounding to me because I don't think, and I've at least tried to read pretty much everything that Virginia's put out, or like all of her interviews, all of her depositions, her books, her one published book and her one manuscript that was unpublished, which I understand in her published book, she says that she did make some things up in the manuscript. She said some things that weren't true in there because someone had told her incorrectly that would protect her from a libel lawsuit. Anyway, but I've read like a lot of what she said, and I don't know that I've ever heard her mention John Kerry. So it's interesting that this is somebody who like knew Virginia well. Like she knew her really, really well. Like produced a like podcast with her, traveled across, the country with her, and like talked to her a lot about Epstein. And that's who told her about it.
Of Jeffrey Epstein, as you may know, she has accused Prince Andrew of sexual abuse.
Yeah, Danny DeLuca. It breaks my heart how far TYT has fallen. Here's my thing with TYT. So I was never a huge fan of theirs. I'm sure I watched some of their stuff. I mean, I definitely have. I am doing that right now. But I feel like something kind of gross that some people do that I guess I understand it, but I think it's sort of like gross. Is like Cenk is making all these, like having all these hot takes lately. That's like Tucker Carlson's actually a really good leftist or whatever. Like a lot of leftists really like Tucker Carlson or stuff like that. I don't know I think I might be thinking of Brianna Joy Gray said that, but he says stuff like that all the time, right? And it's like I don't think he believes that. I think he's smart enough to know that that's not true, but he's saying it because he's specifically trying to court a right-wing audience and bring them on board. And I think it's kind of gross. And I also don't think it'll work, but I mean, who knows? Maybe it will. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but yeah, I agree. They have fallen. But anyway, this isn't about the Young Turks though. This is about Tara Palmieri, Virginia Giuffre, and John Kerry. Let's find out. Bombshell.
Senator George Mitchell, Governor Bill Richardson, Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel.
So this is sorry, I meant to mention this earlier. So she's accused all these people, right? Virginia Giuffre, this is what she's listing. George Mitchell, whatever, Ehud Barak, Alan Dershowitz, Prince Andrew. Like she's accused all these people, but why did she never why would she, like if, well, I mean, I don't know if what's his name, Kerry did anything, to her or anything like that, but like, she knew he was involved. I'm just surprised that it's never come out until now. But
a whole number of men. The list is shocking, frankly. And she told me that while she was basically enslaved by Jeffrey Epstein, she was a minor and she was in his sex trafficking operation, that she met John Kerry. And I found that to be very shocking at the time, because it would have been
That is quite shocking.
2 years before he ran for president in 2004. And it was just, from what she had told me, you could not be around Jeffrey Epstein and not know what he was up to. I mean, she said even a pizza delivery guy, if he went into the house, would see pictures of naked girls, young girls all over the place, unmarried man. There was obviously something wrong in this scenario. So, I kept digging into it and trying to figure out, what is this Kerry connection? Because obviously we've seen pictures with Bill Clinton. We know about the Trump connections, but John Kerry had a really, really critical role in our national security apparatuses as Secretary of State. And he did run for president, and he was a part of the National Security Council under Biden. So he has had a lot of influence in our government over 3 decades. And what I've found was Epstein, over the years, really tried to groom leaders at the top of our State Department and national security apparatuses. And I think we know what he was trying to do in terms of influence, right? I do want to get back to Kerry and his place in Epstein's world. In 2019, Kerry's spokesperson said that he did not know Jeffrey Epstein personally. Now we have a picture that shows Kerry inside the home of Jeffrey Epstein with his 2 housekeepers.
I mean, we've had that picture for a long ass time, and I've actually got here. This is Junlin Fontanella's Facebook page, and so like if you just look through her photos, like this is Epstein's office. That's what we're looking at right now. Hang on, let me go to this one here. This is like me at work or whatever. There's JoJo on the right. I'm not sure if I don't recognize this. This doesn't look like Epstein's house, but maybe it is. Old photos. Like this is kind of their whole thing is a lot of family pictures, but then every so often, who's this? Is that somebody? No, I don't think so. They're all like super out of focus and hard to see. There's Clinton. This is how we know, by the way, that Clinton visited Epstein's New York mansion. From this photo, this is the staircase room. And there's Kerry right there. And when was this uploaded? 2010. It's been up there for a while. Here's Epstein. This looks like the staircase room too, by the what's it called? The tiles on the floor. Clinton, this is on the Lolita Express. So I think this is from a time when JoJo probably drove Epstein to the, Teterboro or whatever to get on his plane. And he was like, oh, can I get a picture for my collection? Oh, I love to take pictures with celebrities. You recognize this person here? That's Hillary Swank. That's Hillary Swank hanging out with, it looks like the whole Fontanella family here. Chris Tucker. Prince Andrew, there's Sarah Ferguson. I don't know. This is them. I feel a little weird, a lot of this, going through like somebody's family, Yeah, I don't know. But then they'll be like, oh yeah, okay, more, more. And it's not even just them. Like this is not them. This is like somebody else in their family, I'm guessing. They're like, oh my God, like, come, like they call their mom or their cousin or something, come over to Jeffrey Epstein's house. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Somebody's here. You got to meet them. Like, it's so weird, right? Isn't this like, it's a little bit. Oh, Clinton says he visited the home, not Epstein. So maybe he was visiting the Fontanellas. He's like, I met this guy. Took me to he drove me to the airport. Oh, I took a photo with him on the plane. It was great. Oh, what a great guy. What a great guy. Oh yeah, we gotta go. We gotta meet the Fontanellas. Come on, Hill dog. Okay. They, by all appearances here, seem to be a totally normal family, right? Like, this is fine. All of this stuff is fine. But then it's just when they're taking photos of the photos that they took, whatever, 10, 20 years ago, a lot of the time, you see some things where you're like, oh God. Hillary Swank. I think this is another photo of the same photo. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they met Hillary Swank not at Epstein's house. Maybe they just ran into her on the street and they did their thing. They got the photo. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Got a little bit distracted there. Let's continue on with this.
We also have sworn testimony from Jeffrey Epstein's former chef, who said that when he cooked for Epstein on the plane, the Lolita Express, he recalled seeing John Kerry. This was taken in 2006. So this wasn't like taken 20 years later and, oh, maybe fuzzy. This is a sworn testimony 302.
She said that picture of Kerry is 25 years old. Oh, sorry. Tara Palmieri said that? Yeah, that would make sense. Like if it was like from 2001, that would make sense. And that would be while Virginia was there.
We have survivors saying that Epstein would talk about how he was friends with Kerry.
Wait, sorry, I missed this last thing. What was? Oh, deposition from Epstein's chef, David Mullen. Wait, sorry, guys. What was it?
That when he cooked for Epstein on the plane, the Lolita Express, he recalled seeing John Kerry. This was taken in 2006.
Really?
So this
okay. I missed this one because I've been collecting some John Kerry stuff, but I didn't see this one. Okay, cool.
Like taken 20 years later and, oh, maybe fuzzy. This is a sworn testimony 302. We have survivors saying that Epstein would talk about how he was friends with Kerry. There's obviously, some donations, nothing major. So we have to come to wonder, like, what was Kerry getting from this, right? But then when you keep digging into the files, you see that Epstein was really tracking Kerry closely when he was Secretary of State in the Iran deal. And when he was Secretary of State, a number of people asked for access to Kerry through Epstein, and Kerry offered access. And Epstein offered access to Kerry to people as like Steve Bannon, as late as 2018 when he was Trump's advisor, to that disgraced Norwegian diplomat, Terry Rod Larson. We could talk about him too. Sadly, his son killed himself yesterday.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad to know how to finally pronounce Terry Rod Larson. I've been saying like Terry.
As he's in the middle of an investigation in Norway for corruption tied to Jeffrey Epstein. He was one of the main architects of the Oslo Accords, which we can get into if you'd like to as well. And that disgraced Emirati shipping tycoon, the Sultan Ahmed bin Suleiman, he asked to see Kerry through Epstein. And there is just this web where you...
Yeah, I do have a couple of the things she's talking about here. Okay, this isn't really organized, but I think this is the one from Sultan. Yeah, so Sultan bin Sulayman. Dear Jeffrey, how are you? I understand that John Kerry is going to visit UAE next week. I would love to meet him, if it's possible, as there's a lot of cooperation between UAE and USA on all fields. I want to explain how business can be expanded between US and UAE. Yours, Sultan. Interesting. But yeah, here's the thing here. We've also got John Kerry is in the Epstein's address book, not circled by Alfredo Rodriguez, the guy who stole the book and circled all the people who knew about who he thought Brad Edwards should investigate. Also have, according to this like vibe coded website that I found, John Kerry did get 4 separate contributions of $1,000 each from 1991 to 2002 for a total of $4,000 public donations. That doesn't seem like a lot, to be honest. And we also have, maybe she'll get into this, but I think there's another one that I couldn't find, but there's at least one. In 2002, FedEx delivered a package from Epstein to John Kerry from New York to Washington, D.C. Interesting, eh? 2002. How much did it weigh? 1 pound, 0.5 kilograms. Standard overnight delivery, $10.76 US. Anyway, so this is pretty much what I got just about. And I think actually Mark J had something that he found where, what was it? He found like some phone call or one phone call, I guess, from Sarah Kellen's records to John Kerry as well, where he like painstakingly went through every phone number and searched it in the black book and whatever. MVP over there. But yeah, so yeah, John Kerry, like, it's weird. And I think it's kind of, I don't know, to me, upsetting that he hasn't really ever had to kind of answer for this, because there's something going on here, right? Anyway.
You see Epstein's world colliding with Kerry, and you also see him actively trying to court Bill Burns. And Bill Burns was Kerry's deputy secretary of state. And as
yeah, that's right. Sultan is the love to torture video guy. Yeah.
You know,
who knows?
State Department and CIA are very closely intertwined. A lot of diplomats, they run sources and assets for the CIA out of the embassies. And Bill Burns went on to be the CIA director under Joe Biden. He had 3 decades of service. And Epstein is connecting him to Peter Thiel. Epstein is talking about having a dinner at his house with Bill Burns, Ehud Barak, this Norwegian diplomat, Terry Rod Larson, who was getting him visas for Russian girls and borrowing money for him. And yeah, it's just, I mean, there are other, and there are other people at the table. So as you can see, he was cultivating all of these relationships with the top of our national security apparatus. And he took this long bet on Kerry. He really had these like wild schemes in which Kerry would come back into national prominence as late as 2016, that like Hillary would get indicted and that Kerry would drop into the race late because he had money and had won more states than Biden.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that too. Because
whoa, that's crazy. So he was, whoa. Okay. So he thought that he was like, you know, those people who were like, Bernie can still win this after he'd already lost like Super Tuesday. Was he kind of like doing that with Kerry, where he's like, no, Hillary is just a fake out. We're just going to have Hillary run so everyone thinks it's Hillary, but then she's going to drop out right beforehand, and then blah, 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 blah. And then Kerry will jump in there. And he wanted Kerry to be like the Kamala, subbed out at the last possible moment, too late for anybody else to go.
Because that's such a interesting fact.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know about that. And I looked through the Epstein emails for John Kerry before. I couldn't find anything about that. So I'm curious.
That's uncovered here. Okay, so I care most about why Epstein is targeting our leaders. I think the answer is super obvious, unless you work in mainstream media and you've never heard of journalism.
Wait, so hang on. What's he saying? He's like, I want to know why Epstein is targeting our leaders. I mean, power. Like, that's what Epstein does. What do you mean? But I feel like his answer is going to be more specific.
But we'll come back to that in a second, and we'll come back to the powerful people in a second. But first on John Kerry, just to be clear.
I'm going to guess he's going to be like, it's Israel. He's doing the bidding of Israel. That feels like the jank, like kind of centrist, right? Like not even centrist, but like trying to be both far right and far left at the same time means everything's Israel's fault. That's my guess.
There's nothing connecting him to the sex yet, but he is connected to being at Epstein's house, knowing Epstein.
That's funny to say it like that. There's nothing connecting him to the sex yet. It's like there will be, but we all know there will be. Okay.
in
ways
that we did not know before. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we certainly did not have that sworn testimony before the files came out. All we had was the word of John Kerry. And we didn't have these emails where Epstein is offering access to John Kerry. And in the text messages with Steve Bannon, he's like, oh, Kerry's going to be in town next weekend. Do you want to meet him? Then he says, oh, he won't be in town, but I can introduce you to Bill Burns instead. And now I asked Kerry's team about it, and they say he wasn't in Washington at all in 2018. Like, it's just the most absurd statement to make.
Yeah, that'd be so weird if people in power were lying about their connections to Epstein. I mean, it's not like Howard Lutnick or anyone else would do that.
Yeah, suddenly he was on the island too. And you know what's the crazy thing is like Bill Burns was invited to the island too, he and his wife, and he said he wished he could go, but then he had to change plans to actually work at the State Department. And this is after when Epstein was a sex offender. So he's asking for career connections.
Yeah, so I have a different theory on what might have motivated John Kerry. So obviously, if he was involved in the sex, then he owes Epstein, and so Epstein can set up these connections and meetings with John Kerry and his deputy if Kerry owes Epstein, right? But that's not the only potential theory, and we don't know that yet. We don't have the information connecting him to the sex yet. But part of that theory goes to the overall picture. So let me go back to the powerful men. So there's two things that are amazing about it. These are some of the top people in American politics. George Mitchell was a huge figure in the Senate and in administrations afterwards in the Democratic Party. Bill Richardson was constantly talking.
I only know these guys from Epstein. George Mitchell was huge. What was he up to aside from, Epstein? Geez, there's a lot of George Mitchells. Jazz musician, actor, sports, politics, United States. I guess it's got to be this guy. He was chairman of Walt Disney Company from 2004 to 2007. Crazy. Hang on now. This is the guy, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so this guy was a big deal. Oh, interesting. He was a senior advisor at the Clintons' PR firm. Wow. Guarantee you he would have been messaging Epstein for advice on this stuff. So a lot of people message him about this. Oh, I'm in a scandal. What should I do? You're the expert. I mean, which, to be fair, he really was. Oh, wow. Another Epstein connection, Stanley Gold, another Disney shareholder. He was, during Bill Clinton's presidency, he was the special envoy for Northern Ireland, aka Fake Ireland. Interesting. Okay. All right. Very, very interesting. All right, let's keep watching the Paul Mary.
About running for president. And by the way, at the time, I used to hear all the time, the only problem with Bill Richardson is his sex life. Like everyone knew, but nobody was allowed to report on it, right? And so that's already super strange. And then
along with a number of other people that spent time around Jeffrey Epstein that were politicians.
Yeah.
They had the same reputations.
Yeah, it's funny how the ones that hung out with Epstein, everyone halfway kind of knew that they had sexual issues, but the American people are not allowed to know it. Only the people in power know it and use it for their own purposes. I mean, Ehud Barak's former prime minister of Israel, his connections to Epstein are probably greater than any other individual that you see in the Epstein files. And our entire national press has ignored it. Like, oh, no big deal. Yeah, of course. The former prime minister of Israel being involved in this massive sex scandal where
staying in his apartments on the Upper East Side with his wife. I mean,
no big deal. Yeah, it's not no big deal. That's a huge deal for any world leader, which then brings me back to why they're doing this. So Tara, like what jumps out here is,
yeah, sorry, I do take issue with that a little bit. Like Ehud Barak, yeah, he's definitely very connected to Epstein, but am I going to say he has more connections to Epstein than any other individual? I mean, more than like Ghislaine Maxwell or Jean-Luc Brunel or like, some of those guys? No, but to take that as maybe not as literally, like if you're talking about, oh, he has more connections to Epstein than any other world leader, even then, I mean, I feel like Trump still beats that. Although we don't have we didn't get as much info about the two of them through the files because they had mostly stopped being friends when, Epstein got big into emails in the 2000s. But anyway, yeah, I mean, okay, it's not a totally crazy thing to say.
For any rational, normal person with common sense, you don't need to be a reporter at all. You don't need.
There are pictures you can look up of him outside his Manhattan house. You mean Ehud Barak or Kerry? Because yeah, there's a bunch of photos of like Ehud Barak like trying to sneak into Epstein's house. Very funny. It's like he's got like a scarf over his face. Yeah, right. That's exaggerated. Yeah, I feel. Bajonkistani and what the heck's Bajonkistan? Is that some kind of, hang on.
Need to be Sherlock Holmes. You think this guy Epstein is clearly trying to accumulate power. He's trying to get close to the most powerful people on earth. And I don't think it's a hobby. I don't think he's going to then use it like to impress people on the bocce court or pickleball court or whatever.
I know, and I always think.
Oh, what about Wexner too? Les Wexner, Peter Mandelson. There's some other people out there.
I think it's funny that people pass it off that way. Oh, he just liked to play up his contacts. It's like, no. This wasn't just like sport for him. He liked to move around powerful people like chess pieces because it served him.
Yeah, so the obvious conclusion appears to be, and certainly obvious enough that there should be a massive line of questioning in this direction is, was he serving as state actor? Here's a guy who was involved in the Iran-Contra affair. There were no civilians involved in the Iran-Contra affair, leading you to believe that he's intelligence. Here's his deep relationship with a guy who wound up being the head of the CIA, Bill Burns. Why do American and Norwegian and UAE and all of these other countries have these deep ties to this, what's supposed to be a random private citizen in South Florida? I mean, so I guess that question, so that part is so obvious that it begs the question of, why doesn't national media care about one of the most, like, I'm not saying they don't care about the story at all. I'm saying they don't seem to show any interest in the most interesting part of the story, which is, why is he accumulating this power? And how does he know every single leader in America and in the world, seemingly?
I want to hit just 3 points there, because first, I do want to say that in 2008, Epstein's lawyers put in a Freedom of Information request, okay, to the CIA and to the National Security Agency, the NSA, asking for proof of affiliation to prove that Epstein was affiliated with those two agencies.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. So Indek and Khan actually tried to be like, listen, okay, yeah, he did a bunch of stuff, but like, you guys know he was one of your boys. Like, give us the fucking documentation. Wow. Would that hold up in a court of law? I guess it probably would.
Just to be clear.
Wait, say that again. What does that mean, Tara?
They wanted to have some sort of proof that Epstein was affiliated with the CIA and the NSA.
Who wanted that proof? Who wanted that proof?
Epstein's lawyers. They wanted that proof.
That's so interesting, because Dershowitz says, well, when I was offending him, if I thought he was part of intelligence like Mossad, that would have been easy to get him off. First of all, is that right? Like, can Mossad agents come and rape our girls here, and then it's easy to get them off if Dershowitz is right? But second of all, well, it turns out what you're saying, and honestly, I didn't know that part, is that his lawyers did try to use that he was involved maybe with the CIA to get him off.
Exactly. I don't believe he only worked for one government. Like, I believe he was like almost a spy for hire, and he started helping the US government. I think he's a Whitey Bulger type.
Yeah, I agree with Tara here that he's like a lot of people want him to be like, no, he didn't even want to do any of that stuff. It was like the CIA or Mossad or somebody, like KGB, were like, okay, what you're gonna do, you're gonna get a bunch of girls to blah, 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 blah. That doesn't seem likely to me. It seems much more likely that this guy was bigger than that. He was bigger than any individual spy agency. He was like, hey, I'm connected to all these people. I have like no moral code, and I'll do whatever I can to get more power. And he's selling fucking, info and access and whatever he can to all of these different people, some of whom are affiliated with intelligence, some of whom are just powerful people in the business world or the political world, world leaders, CEOs, all kinds of people. And he liked to cultivate this air of mysteriousness around himself. I think he loved when people speculated that he was CIA. He would sometimes tell people he was CIA, or he was like US Marines, or he was whatever. Like, he liked to, he was like a sort of a compulsive liar, like a pathological liar. He liked to sort of make things up. He'd tell people he was a brain scientist. He'd tell people he was like whatever. Yeah, he said he studied math under the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. Like, he just liked to kind of make up cool sounding stories about himself. Yeah, I'm a spy. Yeah, I'm this. Yeah, I'm that. And he did. He was friends with the people in these worlds, and he would have kind of, I think, for sure, done shit with Mossad, done shit with CIA, whatever, worked for them. But he was not like Cenk is trying to say. It seems like Cenk is really fixated on Mossad here in Israel, which is pretty much what I expected. But and that's not to diminish Epstein's Israel ties, but like I think I agree with Tara Palmieri and like the Whitey Bulger sort of association. But yeah, interesting.
He was a part of one of the largest Ponzi schemes in our country, in history. It was the $300
Towers Financial,
million financial tower scheme. It happened in the early 90s with Stephen Hoffenberg. His partner, Stephen Hoffenberg, went to jail for the rest of his life. Jeffrey Epstein did not, because he turned on him and worked with the feds. He worked with the feds again on Bear Stearns. I think Jeffrey Epstein traded on secrets. And how do you get secrets? Compromise.
Yeah, so, okay, our national media.
I like that theory a lot.
Is a national embarrassment. Like, that's not interesting? Like,
No. I do want to go into that. I agree, and I agree that that they have missed the story.
Bill Mozart That's such a funny way to put it. So Danny says, to rich people, I don't think it matters what crimes you commit. As long as you're rich and within whatever circles, you're good to go. Bill Mozart. Yeah, the rich have stolen the power of teamwork and friendship. Yeah, that's true. This is how they've taken over the world, with the power of friendship. Sounds like something from like Steven Universe or something, but yeah. True.
In so many.
That's like just a different way of saying class solidarity and like the Domhoff concept of upper class social cohesion. I love it.
Anyways, it's like they're even this, like if you actually talk to the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and you ask them about the men that were around them, they would understand the story. If you believe them, you would know. I mean, Virginia was the one who told me about this. And she was the one who literally tipped me off to look into this close relationship. And they don't. And they don't state the affiliations. They don't state the obvious glaring issues. Although I will give them credit for calling a suicide note a purported suicide note. That's the New York Times. Because obviously we can't trust anything coming out of the Justice Department when they're holding on to 2.5 million files for either to protect survivors, which I don't believe because they didn't redact their names. They redacted the name of a sultan that, Epstein was going to hook up with Kerry, who loved torture videos. But they can't redact a survivor's name, but they're national security documents. And so why are 2.5 million files related to national security and Jeffrey Epstein? So that's a whole other story. But the media, I mean, what's kind of upsetting about this story is I've always just seen it as a political cudgel. People use it as a weapon, however it suits them. The liberal media did not think it was useful back in 2019 when the story broke. You guys were covering it. I remember that because you had me on your show when I did the Broken Jeffrey Epstein podcast, and I traveled around the country trying to find witnesses to corroborate Virginia's abuse.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Broken, the Jeffrey Epstein podcast. I think season 2 is where Paul Mary goes around with her. Very good.
But they just didn't really care, right? It didn't have a purpose for them, and so they were only interested as much as there was a financial aspect to it, but they wouldn't get into the national security concerns, which were obviously glaring, considering the people he was spending time with, right? And that was before we even saw the full scope of the files and who he was supporting and the people he was close to and the actions that were so obvious, like old school honeypot, compromise, KGB style, frankly, information gathering. You see in the files that his pilot tells him, I got these cameras. They're so small. I can put them in the Kleenex boxes so no one can see them. And we know that they're sitting on 40 gigabytes of files.
Yeah.
What could 40 gigabytes be other than video, right?
So
and we've only seen 300 megabytes. We've seen 1% of the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not right. Wait. 40 gig. I think she's mixing up her terms of what it is, because we have a lot more than 40 gigabytes. I'm not sure the exact number. Maybe she means like terabytes. We only have 200 megabytes? That's not right. That ain't right. Hang on. Oh, God. I don't know. I'm just going to type in a question like some boomer grandma doesn't understand internet. How many terabytes Epstein files released? Okay, so this is from February 2026. Okay, whatever. I'll take the AI answer for now. Epstein files released by the Department of Justice, approximately 300 gigabytes, which is about 2% of the estimated 14 terabytes of data. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So okay, that was just it seems like she just got a little confused there. Yeah.
And we've only seen 300. What could 40 gigabytes be?
What could 40 gigabytes be other than video? I mean, 40 gigabytes. You could get 40 gigabytes without video.
Than video, right?
So
and we've only seen 300 megabytes. We've seen 1% of the Epstein files.
Yeah, no,
yes, very good point. Ian XT7Jai. We know for a fact a lot of tapes and CDs disappeared between the first and second raid. Yeah. There's all those CDs that said like girl's name, and then in brackets like her age, like 14, and then it'd be and then it'd be like famous person's name, like on a CD, and then where did those go? They disappear. Where was the FBI chain of custody there? What happened? Who lost those? What happened? Who threw those CDs into the incinerator, or filed them away for future use? What was that?
Can't say, there's no question. You can't say that we can't show you the information because it's a national security issue and then tell us it's not a national security issue. You can't have it both ways. Obviously, he was involved in national security. Obviously, he was intelligence. Anyone saying otherwise is a giant liar. And why they're lying is super interesting. But look,
obviously he was intelligence. I mean, it depends on what you mean by that, but.
I'll add one thing to this. I know we're running short on time. The information I know, you mentioned 2016 and John Kerry. I talked to people back then, super high in the Democratic Party, who told me that if Hillary Clinton ran into trouble, that one of the people they were considering replacing her with was John Kerry. So
okay, this is a part she mentioned at the beginning. I would love to know more about this.
That's why Epstein and whoever he works for was deeply interested in John Kerry. Here's a guy who ran for president earlier. Okay, if he's the president of the United States, then whoever Epstein's working for can easily control the president of the United States if he's connected.
Yeah, I have 40 gigabytes of just classic rock. Yeah, exactly. Like that isn't unheard of.
Right? If he runs again in 2016, then you have the president of the United States in your back pocket. Now, here's why. Yeah, there's no question there's crossover from the CIA because you could tell him in the Iran-Contra affair, right? So that he's working with the CIA there. But is he exclusively working for the CIA?
No.
The CIA doesn't need to control the U.S. president. The U.S. president is already in charge. I mean, that's our government, right? So that does. No, it has to be a foreign government trying to control. And so we're not going to avoid the 800-pound gorilla in the room. That's Israel. Obviously, this is Israel. Mm-hmm. Every single business deal he did,
I knew he was going to go here,
was in favor of Israel. There's no question about that. That's all over the emails.
He also gave to Israeli philanthropy.
Every single business deal he did was all in favor of Israel. That is just not true, man. That's just not true. He would work with anybody if he thought it would help him. You know, this is why I can't take Cenk too seriously. He's too focused on like his own political goals and his own, not even political goals, his own like goals of growing his channel and becoming a bigger like network. He's too focused on that to take any of his analysis seriously because it's all filtered through the lens of like, wait, how does this like help me strengthen my like intentionally stupid like paradigm of the world that is going to help me attract this kind of like horseshoe theory audience, the far left and the far right. Like that's why he's going here.
He's close with Les Wexner. I mean, that was his main funder. There is so many. Ehud Barak was a personal friend.
Yeah, you did shit with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Russia, you know, Norway, Sweden, England, the US. Dude is all over the place, you know. Every business deal he did all benefited Israel. That's just not true, man. That's just not true. I mean, I don't know. That might be the way that you could pitch it to be. Like I say, like he's trying to appeal to. He's trying to bring over Nazis to join the like class reductionist left that he's got on his side. So, and like, that's not what Tara Palmieri's saying. And he's just kind of like, exactly. And that's why it has to be Israel. Anyway, he bugs me.
Robert Maxwell, who was known to be a Mossad agent, gave him a,
Which I would also push back on that, although not quite as hard. We don't know that Robert Maxwell was a Mossad agent. In fact, I don't think he was a Mossad agent, but I would say probably an asset or at least someone who, like Epstein, worked with Israel, worked with Mossad, worked with Israeli intelligence to do things. We do have some, Ben Menashe said that he was a, Mossad agent, but I don't trust what Mossad people say. So I don't know. More likely than with Epstein, though.
Recommended him to Hank Greenberg to work for them. It goes.
And hang on a second. Wait.
Recommended him to Hank.
Wait a second.
Who was known to be a Mossad agent.
Okay. Robert Maxwell was known to be a Mossad agent.
Gave him recommended him to Hank Greenberg to work for them.
Wait, I don't think that's true. I always think his name's Ace Greenberg, but is it Hank Greenberg? Oh no, Hank Greenberg, nicknamed Hammer and Hank, Hankus Pankus, and the Hebrew Hammer. Oh man, okay, old school baseball. Yeah, I guess that's not, but I think she means Ace Greenberg. What's Ace Greenberg's name again? Alan Greenberg. Yeah. Okay. Hank Greenberg, she must have misspoke there. But so he's the guy who got Epstein hired at Bear Stearns out of, if you'll recall, Epstein was working at the Dalton School, the prestigious New York high school. Excuse me. And Epstein got fired from the high school and he got hired at Bear Stearns by Alan Greenberg, like right after. Now she is saying to me, I'm so parasocial right now. I'm like, my good personal friend Tara Palmieri, we're hanging out, and she said that. No, I just watched this on YouTube. I got to remind myself of that sometimes. Not like you guys, who are all my close personal friends, but oh yeah, Hank Greenberg, beloved YouTuber, brother of famous author John Greenberg. But yeah, no. Okay, so here's what I think she may be confusing this with. During Ghislaine Maxwell's interview, and if I'm wrong about this, I would love to know, because this would be huge news. Like, we've talked about this before with the Epstein timeline. It does not seem like Robert Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein ever met. But hang on a minute now. Hang on, I can pull this up. I took so many freaking notes on the Ghislaine Maxwell interview. So yes, on page 17, line 13. All right, I think that's right here. So she's talking about Robert Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell is talking to Todd Blanche. She's talking to him about her father, Robert Maxwell. And Todd's like, did your father and Epstein have a business relationship over the years? Ghislaine says, they never met. As far as you know, they never even met? No, they never met. I know they never met. Well, how do you know they never met? I just categorically know they never met. Well, because after, in 1991, before my father died, he asked me if I'd met anybody interesting or whatever, because I was still trying not to be sucked back into the family business. And, oh, wait, hang on. Wait. Okay, hang on. No. Sorry, I guess I didn't screenshot it, but I have the thing here. Wait. We'll pull it up on the actual Department of Justice, because I think this is, what was it again? Page 17? No, sorry. What did I just say? Greenberg. Yeah, page 17, line 13. Okay, great. Okay, so this is about, yeah. Okay, this is about the, whether or not, well, how do you know they never met? Oh, they just never met. So right before my father died, this is Ghislaine, he asked me if I'd met anybody interesting or whatever, because I was still trying not to be sucked back into the family business. And I told him I'd met Mr. Epstein, and the reason why I shared that I'd met Mr. Epstein was because I believed at the time that Epstein worked for Bear Stearns, and Bear Stearns was one of our banks, and I knew that my father was very friendly with both Jimmy Kane and Ace Greenberg. So there's a thing, right? That there is a connection here where it's like, Epstein worked for out the mic, right? Hello, we're back. That's weird. Sorry, gang. Where was I? Muted. Oh, geez. Okay, so it's been down for a while, eh? Okay, so I at least you guys heard a bit of the Ghislaine accent. Does the Ghislaine accent come naturally to you, or Do you practice because goddamn you've got it down? Thanks. No, it doesn't exactly come naturally to me, but I don't know. Maybe in a past life I was a upper class British woman. Who knows? But okay, I'm not sure exactly where we cut out there. Okay, it was just where Ghislaine was talking about her dad knowing the bankers. Okay, great. All right, hang on now. And I knew that my father was friendly with both Jimmy Kane and Ace Greenberg. That's where we were. All right, we'll do it over for the clip. And I knew that my father was very friendly with both Jimmy Kane and Ace Greenberg. So those are the two guys. Ace Greenberg had a child that went to Dalton. He's the guy who hooked Epstein up with the career at Bear Stearns to begin with. Jimmy Kane was like a mentor to Epstein over at Bear Stearns. And whatever, hopefully I get unblurred. Apparently Jimmy Kane had a hard time meeting women, and Epstein, it seems, probably like hooked him up with girls to date and stuff. But anyway, so her father, Robert Maxwell, knew those guys. Okay, so he was like, they were in the same circles, you know. So it's interesting. I don't know if it was Jimmy Kane or Ace Greenberg. Somebody from Bear Stearns had Robert Maxwell as a client back while Epstein was working there. So I'm not sure. They may have crossed over. That's definitely possible. But and it says, so my dad was actually in New York, if I remember. I don't know. I don't remember exactly if I saw this or if he told me over the phone or something. But he called both Jimmy Kane and Ace Greenberg to ask what sort of guy Epstein was, and was he even allowed to date me? Because Todd Blanche. So they never met. Ghislaine, he didn't even know who he was. Todd Blanche, but they knew some of the same people. It sounds like, or certainly the Bear Stearns connection was something that you knew that they had. Ghislaine, no, well, he never had a connection with Epstein. He had a connection with the bank. I mean, Epstein, I'd never heard of him and knew him before. And I certainly, if my dad had known him, right, when I said this is who he was, he didn't know who he was. So he rang Ace and rang Jimmy to ask if it was okay that I even knew him. And I just want to explain briefly why my father would even do such a thing. I mean, we don't even really need to go into all this stuff. This is just her bragging about her exciting life. But so in case he thought it was weird that he would call Jimmy and Ace, it might, you may think it is, but from my perspective, it was just because he was concerned I was in America alone, and he had an opportunity to verify who this person was. So okay, like this all makes sense, right? So basically, the point of me looking up this interview was, I think maybe this is what Palmieri is thinking of here. She's saying that Robert Maxwell, what was it? Hank Greenberg. What did she say?
He's a personal friend.
Hang on.
And funder. There is so many. Ehud Barak was a personal friend. Robert Maxwell, who was known to be a Mossad agent, gave him
Again, I wouldn't put it like that, but maybe true.
Recommended him to Hank Greenberg to work for them.
So, okay, he recommended him to Hank Greenberg to work for them. I don't know if Epstein maybe joined that baseball team with the Hebrew Hammer, but I think she's talking about Ace Greenberg. It does seem like there was a bit of a reference check, like a background check that went on, but not recommending to work with him. It was like Robert Maxwell called Ace Greenberg and Jimmy, it's sort of in reverse, where he was like, can you recommend him to me to date my daughter? I think that's what we're talking about here. But I don't know. I mean, I'd like to ask her specifically about what she means by this, because as far as I know, I don't know. I don't know of that happening. If that did happen, that Maxwell recommended Epstein to Hank Greenberg or Ace Greenberg or whoever, like that completely changes the timeline, because that means that Robert Maxwell knew Jeffrey Epstein while he was the high school teacher, which is like that's like fucking black-haired fro Epstein timeline. That is not like gray-haired established, international money man of mystery Jeffrey Epstein. Like it completely upsets the timeline. So I'm a little confused here. Unless the other possibility is that Hank Greenberg is just maybe I'm confused. Is there another Hank Greenberg that it could be? I assume it's not the baseball guy, but I mean maybe it could be. are there other Hank Greenbergs? What if I type in Hank Greenberg, Robert Maxwell? What's this? Bear Stearns CEO Hank Greenberg, whose kids attended the school. Is the guy's name Hank Greenberg? Wait. This can't be right. Ace Greenberg. Alan Greenberg. But here's another website. Here's another Substack. Okay. Hank Greenberg. Is it just like maybe a common mistake? Because the fact that he was fired for inappropriate behavior towards young girls must have impressed Bear Stearns CEO Hank Greenberg. That's why he got hired to Bear Stearns, because he had inappropriate behavior towards young girls. That's what they look for. Okay. No, I think this is just like a mistake people are making. Bear Stearns, they puts it again down here. Hank Greenberg, also a staunch Zionist. Cool. MI6, CIA, Mossad are all intelligence agencies that work for the Rothschilds. Great comment. Also, I like that Rothschilds has an apostrophe there, which just wouldn't be correct in any circumstances. Okay, well, yeah, no, I think we can say that this baseball player who died in 1986 probably didn't hire Jeffrey Epstein at any point, nor did he work for Bear Stearns. But for a minute there, I thought maybe I was wrong. Oh, a horrible feeling. And I hope you guys never encounter
it. It goes very far back. The problem is we don't have emails, and we don't have the files. They kind of stop before email. We don't know him in the 1991 Oslo Accord.
Yeah, Jimmy Kane was another guy there. Yeah. Jimmy Kane was a kind of Wall Street legend until he lost about everything in 2008. Oh, interesting.
It's like, what was he doing?
Yeah.
When, Terry Reed Larson was building this. Was he right next to him, breathing down his throat? Because they were best friends, literally best friends.
So Tara, that's the last
$10 million.
Yeah. So Epstein left $10 million.
That's another guy who's very close to Epstein. Also, sorry, I'm just going back again to the thing Cenk said, where he said Ehud Barak is by far the most connected person to Epstein of all time, or something like that, and it was just like, there's so many other people, Harry Rod Larson, is that how you say it? And the Boris Nikolic or whatever, the guy who was Bill Gates' advisor, super connected. There's so many people, it is a little weird to focus on Ehud Barak, who was very connected though, not to diminish that, but
million for Larson in his will, the Norwegian diplomat that was running the Oslo Accords. And so Tara, that's my last question. So look, if you're Israel, the Oslo Accords were everything. So if you could frame it as those no good, dirty Palestinians turned down a perfectly wonderful offer from the Israelis when you actually handed them a terrible offer that you knew they couldn't take. And then you have everyone involved, Bill Clinton connected to Epstein, John Kerry connected to Epstein, Terry Rod Larson connected to Epstein. And they all say on Israel's behalf, Israel is right and the Palestinians are wrong. That allows them to continue the occupation. And so now we're to believe that Epstein's hundreds of connections to Israel and his supernova focus on the Oslo Accords are a coincidence. Is that what we're supposed to believe?
I mean, Rod Larson was the one that we know for certain has a focus on was the architect of the Oslo Accords, but he was trading emails with Epstein almost every single day.
Very much. Okay, so I just think, sorry, I don't want to make this about Cenk and my personal disagreements with him, but I feel like when I'm watching Tara Palmieri respond to this, she's sort of like, okay, Cenk, I can see you're trying to really make this fit your narrative here. Let me do the best I can, kind of thing. Like she's like, well, I can't co-sign all of that, but yeah. Oh, interesting, Ian. My own personal theory is that he did everything for the nation of New Jersey. He was like, and look, Tara, you can tell all those times he flew at a Teterboro airport. And where is that located? That's New Jersey. Okay, we need to look into Tony Soprano's connections. Yeah, he's a fictional character. That's how powerful Epstein was. He had one of those books from the Page Master where Macaulay Culkin could jump in the book and be inside of it. Okay, he's like he's like a treehouse detective novel. Okay, he's traveling through time and space to have adventures with literary figures. He's like Wishbone. Okay, he has Wishbone abilities. This is what we need to get to the bottom of. Was Jeffrey Epstein working with Wishbone, the dog that loves to read? This is what we need to know. Tara, am I right? Please tell me the ways that I'm right and not how I'm wrong.
Focus on the Oslo Accords are a coincidence. Is that what we're supposed to believe?
I mean,
see, this is
Rod Larson.
Here, I'll give you something.
Is that what we're supposed to believe?
I mean, Rod Larson was the one that we know for certain has a focus on the.
And like, I also, Tara Palmieri's also like recently become an independent journalist, and she's sort of like, I have sort of seen her trying to play this game too, the sort of political game where she's like, how do I get the biggest audience possible? How do I do this? How do I do that? What can I say? What can I do? Who can I attack? She attacked like, what's her name? Oh God, don't know how to say it, but it's like Kat Abu Ghazilaway or something like that. Sorry, Jesus, nothing like that. But you know what I'm talking about. She was on Media Matters. She's running for Congress, I think. And she sort of like attacked her in kind of a gross way that I thought was more done to get clicks and views than it was to like do journalism. But in any case, yeah, I think she's playing a bit of the same game here.
Was the architect of the Oslo Accords, but he was trading emails with Epstein almost every single day while Kerry was in Iran. They were trading thoughts, and
so she's bringing back to Kerry. Okay, this is what I was hoping it would be more about John Kerry. It seems like she came on here with the it's a bombshell report about Epstein and John Kerry, but then they mostly talked about, and he was for sure Israel.
And news clippings on everything he was doing there. So they were both watching it super closely.
So I looked up a while back the John Kerry emails in Gmail, but most of the things that come up are like, he subscribed to, Boris Nikolic was the guy I was thinking of. He's one of the most connected people as well. But most of the emails are like random, like newsletter, world news newsletter updates that he gets that are like, oh, John Kerry's in, here's Terry Rod Larson here. But yeah, it's mostly like, I think John Kerry might be busy for a while. He's messaging Rod Larson here. Oh, this is the one she's talking about, eh? They'll turn to Bill Burns, who will need more help. Middle East, Syria, Egypt. Cool. Is Epstein like a blood or something? He's replacing all these first letters with, or a Crip, I guess, replacing all these first letters with C's. Information contained. Okay, that's it. So that's the one she was talking about where Epstein is. Oh no, it's actually not Epstein. This is from Rod Larson to Epstein. Is that right? Oh, this really does seem like a Epstein email though. This is it. Yeah, this is wrong. This is from Epstein because down here it says, please notify us immediately by return email to Joe Vacation. That's also a typo. This must just be the AI that they use for, if we look at the original, I'm sure it'll be. Yeah, okay, so they got it wrong. It's to Terry Rod Larson from Epstein. I think John Kerry might be busy. They'll turn to Bill Burns, who will... Okay, maybe this is why I missed it when I was looking for these. But yeah, like a lot of the stuff is like this sort of thing where it's like, oh, key events to watch today. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry meet in London. It's just kind of like, news bulletin for people who don't have time to read the whole news. Markets opening weather. Tajia Smith. Anyway. It's a little repetition. Man, I wish Jmail was better. I wish Jmail was just slightly better.
That is what I can speak to based on the...
Oh, Cat lost? Oh, sorry. Okay, listen, I've been out on it. I was not running. Okay, sorry. I missed that. RIP to their political career. Booklet bit bookie. Yeah. That's not really what she said, but that's okay. Sorry, who? Kat or Tara or who did what happened?
Files. I don't know if Jeffrey Epstein was present around the time of the Oslo Accords. I wish I did.
That would be crazy. That would be nuts. I'm going to assume he was there. I'm going to assume he was in the corner there. Rod Larson brought a +1.
I just don't have the sourcing to tell you.
Yeah, but Tara, he doesn't have to be present. He just has to tell his, Rod Larson, who's randomly, apparently his best friend is the guy who ran the Oslo.
Cenk is doing the same thing as me, where he doesn't know how to pronounce his first name, so he just calls him Rod Larson.
Accords, that he's such a good friend and he left him $10 million as a thank you gift. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's actually being investigated. Unlike the leaders of our country, they're not being investigated.
Of course, because credit to Norway. That means they're not completely controlled by Israel. But our government is, in my opinion, obviously, completely controlled by Israel. That's why we're not allowed to investigate our leaders and their connection to the biggest pedophile ring in American history. We're not allowed to investigate it, and we're not allowed to know it because God.
Yeah, no, good point, Cenk. I think that if it wasn't for the fact that the American government is completely controlled by Israel, a much smaller, less powerful state, but still, somehow they control America. If it wasn't for the fact that they were run by Israel, all of the American political leaders would be totally fine with admitting that they were pedophiles and saying that, yes, they had done pedophile stuff with a pedophile guy like Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, no, I think you're right, Jake. I think that is definitely what the what the thing is, where the problem is here. It's Trump is like every day, he's like, just let me get it off my conscience. Come on, Benjamin Netanyahu, just let me say it, okay? I'm ready to turn myself in. Oh, every night I cry myself to sleep. I just want people to know the truth. And Netanyahu's like, no, you can't do it. How does he talk? Oh, I'm Benjamin Netanyahu over here. I'm from New York. I grew up in Brooklyn. So, we're doing the genocide over here. Hey, I'm ethnic cleansing over here. No, you're not allowed to say nothing. You got me? I gave him kind of a Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, Israel doesn't get no respect at all. Oh, Donald Trump, we got the compromise on you. Okay. All right, I'm putting the bit out of its misery, and let's finish watching this video.
God forbid we find out that it might be connected to our special ally that is.
He's making this way more about Israel than I even expected, by the way. I thought he would, but I was like, okay.
All of our money and all of our troops.
But the only thing is, though, like, John Kerry also has done a bunch of shit in Israel, too, and Cenk is, like, not getting in on that. Like, that could be a thing.
Troops to that one country the size of Papua New Guinea, but the fact that they're massively connected through a potential sex scandal to all of our leaders is not relevant, our media says, and our politicians say. You got to read Tara Palmieri's Substack. It's called The Red Letter. Unlike national media, and she was all over mainstream media before. I mean, huge history and experience there, but now doing wonderful independent reporting there. Thank you for joining us, Tara. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your support. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No problem. All right, guys. So by the way.
Oh, you grew up in Philly? Oh, okay. Whoops. Well, I don't know what that accent is, so I'm just going to keep with the New York one.
Last thing on this, what could John Kerry's motivation be if he wasn't involved in any of these sexual, going-ons, to say the least? Well, you also want to be close to Epstein. If Epstein is the source of power, why would he be the source of power? If he's representing Israel, there's nothing more powerful in America than that. That is why guys like Kerry, even if they weren't doing the sex, would want, like, oh, Israel, will you make me president? Will you help me maneuver in 2004 and 2016? Oh, look at that, I'm always at the top of the list. And when Israel needs a Secretary of State that'll be completely subservient and loyal to them, hey, there's John Kerry again. Hey, it's so funny how the people who are friendly to Israel always wind up at the very, very top. But our media says, don't ask any questions. You stupid Americans,
Okay, I think I've had enough of this. Yeah, interesting. I was honestly hoping there would be more there about Kerry, but there's a few things here that I didn't know. What were they again? Shoot, maybe I'll have to watch this again. But this one I hadn't known about, that one of Epstein's chefs. So I'll look up this file and put it in my John Kerry canvas board. But on Obsidian. But there's something else she mentioned. Oh, what was it? Dang it. Oh, it was around here, wasn't it? Maybe I'll go to the most recent.
When he was Secretary of State, And then where people asked for access to Kerry through Epstein, and Kerry offered access, and Epstein offered access to Kerry to people as like Steve Bannon, as late as 2018 when he was Trump's advisor, to that disgraced Norwegian diplomat, Terry Rod Larson. We can talk about him too. Sadly, his son killed himself yesterday as he's in the middle of an investigation in Norway for corruption tied to Jeffrey Epstein. He was one of the main architects of the Oslo Accords, which we can get into if you'd like to as well. And that disgraced Emirati shipping tycoon, the Sultan Ahmed bin Suleiman, he asked to see Kerry through Epstein. And there is just Joe Biden. He had 3 decades of service, and Epstein is connected.
This was really the only part we had to really watch. This like 1 minute here, but this is a lot more connections than I knew of. Bill Burns is Kerry's deputy secretary of state, and then he went on to become CIA director. 3 decades of service. Epstein's connecting him to Peter Thiel, talking about having dinner at his house with Bill Burns, Ehud Barak, Terry Rod Larson. Wow. It took this long bet on John Kerry. Oh, yeah. This is the thing this is what I was blown away by. Epstein had all these wild schemes in which Kerry would come back into national prominence as late as 2016, that Hillary would get indicted and Kerry would drop into the race late because he had money and had won more states than Biden. That's so wild. Okay, I guess we didn't, she didn't have time to really get into that part, but maybe that's in her. I should just bite the bullet and, I do have one free post from Tara Palmieri. I'll get into it because I would love to know more about John Kerry's, connections to Epstein. And I wonder, this is why I think it's important. I'll just say this and then we can move on to something else. I think the John Kerry stuff is important because it's like, this is a case where like the Trump administration is so, it's putting up walls on all these investigations, right? Like they are so devoted to ending any discussion about Jeffrey Epstein. But if they could make it about John Kerry, like this could be a guy that the Trump administration actually kind of pedals the bike forward on. What? That is not an expression that I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. But yeah, like this could be something that they could get motivated on. If John Kerry has ties to Epstein that are unexplored and that are troubling, if there's any kind of sexual assault allegations here, this could be something that gets the momentum going on the Epstein case again. And yeah, okay, it'll go against the Democrats, but who cares? Like, we can't use Epstein as a partisan political cudgel or whatever. Is that the right word? I don't know. I can't do idioms today, but like, this could be something that like a wedge that like opens up. And if Trump thinks that there's something about John Kerry, then there could be a massive investigation into the files by the government looking for more John Kerry shit that we will, whether or not he's guilty, like we will just get more information about this thing. So I would love to encourage this to become big. All right. And that is what I have to say about John Kerry. And let's move on to game theory. Okay. So this guy, predictive history dude, look at this guy, eh? This guy's huge. Professor Jang. Now, I have honestly been a little bit out of the loop on him. I don't fully get him. I've never watched one of his videos. I've seen clips where he seems like really dumb, but I imagine he must be kind of smart, right? Like, or there must be something to him. Yeah, okay. Like, it's crazy how expensive college is and how free YouTube is. Well, you get what you pay for, I guess. He sort of reminds, from what I can tell, student here, excited for class. Professor Jang, don't let anyone get to you. But yeah, he does remind me of like Jordan Peterson back in the day when he was uploading all his lectures onto YouTube. And people were watching them and being like, "Oh my God! Now I feel like I'm actually, maybe I should go to university. Like, this is amazing. Oh wow! Finally, a professor who's really teaching the real stuff." And it's like, yeah, High school teacher Jan. Yeah. Because he's not actually a professor, right? He's a high school teacher. And he's not doing class. Like, this is just for YouTube, this stuff that he does. But yeah, no, I'm so curious to watch some of his stuff. So I figured, yeah, maybe today's a good day we can do some of this stuff. Yeah, video production quality sure isn't what's attracting views. Although he does have one of these cool smart boards. Okay, those things are cool. 2.61 million subscribers, and this guy blew up so fast, eh? So let's check it out. And I was gonna watch one that he did on Epstein that's pretty short, but we just did a bunch of Epstein stuff. Let's mix it up. This is a topic that I've been thinking about a lot lately, the AI apocalypse, because I'm like, I don't want to underestimate AI. I don't want to be like one of those guys that was like, COVID's not going to be a big deal or whatever, which I wasn't, by the way. I was a pretty early advocate that COVID is going to be a big deal. But the AI apocalypse is something that a lot of literally the most intelligent people on Earth, the most high IQ people on Earth, are convinced that AI is going to be this fucking horror. It's going to be like Terminator times a million. It's going to be like the singularity is reached, and then AI will be like, and we will be we're able to kill every human, and that will increase efficiency or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, AI sucks. AI is bad in a lot of ways, and we need to address these ways and stuff. But I think all these AI companies are really pushing the whole AI apocalypse thing far. And here's my take on it. Well, I'll give you my take before we watch this. I feel like, okay, this is my little metaphor. Okay, so AI apocalypse stuff, that whole thing is, imagine you're looking for a new roommate. And you got a small place, you share a bathroom, and you're making sure you get a good roommate. And you interview a bunch of people, and they all seem fine. But you interviewed this one guy, and he's like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I might not be a great roommate. It might be weird having me as a roommate because I am going to be so efficient that I do all of the work in the house. I cook all the meals. I clean the entire house every day, every second. In fact, I'm going to be such a good roommate by every possible metric that it will fundamentally change the way that you look at roommates and you look at having an apartment. You will have to find a new way to live. It will be a completely game change. It will be a turning point in your life. And I just want you to be prepared for that. And then, you're like, oh, that sounds kind of awesome. Okay, let me, yeah, you're in. When can you move in? And then the guy moves in, and then he's in the bathroom 12 hours a day, running all the fucking sinks. He leaves the kitchen completely dirty, piles up the dirty dishes, every day, uses every single dish, just shits on the floor. He has 18 cats and 3 dogs and a gerbil that runs free. It's he's blasting loud music. He's in the bathroom. He's blasting loud music all day long. It's you're getting all the noise pollution and shit. You're like, what the fuck? This is awful. And then you're like, okay, roommate meeting. We're calling a roommate meeting. And he comes to the meeting and you're like, hey man, so you're using too much water. You're causing too much noise. You're leaving porn everywhere. You're doing all these weird deep fakes of me and my girlfriend, and that's making us uncomfortable. And I think that kind of this is sort of the worst roommate situation I've ever had. And then he goes, oh my God, you are not getting it. None of that stuff matters. None of it matters because I'm only doing all that stuff. That's just on the way to me becoming maximally efficient, which is what is going to be the real problem. The real problem is not the stuff that is happening that is problems, obviously. The real problem is this theoretical thing that I will become, and that's going to be so good that it'll actually hurt you. That's sort of what the thing is, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're complaining about free porn? It's yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, I give you that porn as a gift. What are you talking about? But yeah, anyway, that's how I sort of think about AI apocalypse. I'm skeptical of it. I haven't seen anything that makes me feel okay, this is not just a fucking marketing stunt. This is not just a fun buzzword for AI people to use so that more evil billionaires will give them like $100 billion investments. The amount of investments that are going into AI is insane. Like that has never been seen before in history. Like that is crazy. But like, I think a lot of it is a sales pitch, but I don't know. So let's see. Let's class is in session, folks. Let's get down to business. Professor Jang, tell us what's up. Tell us what's up, Teach.
After I posted my class from last Thursday.
Sorry, I'll let it play a little bit. But yes, I did want to say Jose did a great breakout on this guy. He's nuts. Yes. And that's why it made me want to watch this, because I watched Jose's and I was like, oh, wow, this guy's way crazier than I thought. Let me check him out. Yeah, it doesn't explain all of it, but a lot of the fear-mongering doom was stirred by the AI giants. Yes, in the midst of their lobbying regulators to make it harder for newer AI companies from launching. Yes, 100% true. Yeah. OpenAI in particular. I myself don't like where AI is going. Yeah. All right, let's watch.
My friend, as well as teacher, David Bromwich, sent me an email.
Am I supposed to write this guy's name down in my notebook?
And what we're going to do today is we're going to read his email together. I asked for his permission, and he said that it's okay for me to make public.
Okay, just skimming this, it is already insane. The Jewish Gnostic derivation from the Kabbalah? Okay, I can't wait. Let's just
like his emailed to me. Okay, so he said, I just watched your video.
I'm sorry, David Bromwich? Should we look this guy up? David Bromwich. This is his teacher? Okay, he's at Yale University. Yeah, this is it. Sterling professor of English at Yale University, political views. He's against American intervention in Syria, frequent critic of Obama, criticized the 2011 State of the Union address for a lack of focus on gun control and immigration, for rhetorical concessions to conservative ideology. Okay, sure. That's nice. He's criticized the American stance on Ukraine for protracting the war with Russia. Okay, this is not nearly as crazy as I thought it was going to be. He edited a collection of writings by Edmund Burke. But he's a liberal? Because Edmund Burke's like the original conservative from like the French Revolution, right? Foregrounding Burke's impeachment of Warren Hastings and his criticisms of the British Empire in India. Okay, I don't even know about that stuff. All right, whatever. Okay, so he's an English professor. That's fine. That's allowed. Let's keep watching.
There's a thought I've been meaning to pass on, and this latest talk crystallized it. You travel fast in your explanations with a satisfying definiteness and say a lot of true things that timid people stay clear of.
With a satisfying definiteness. This guy's an English teacher? Oh, it had a satisfying definiteness. That is a... All right. I mean, I guess that's grammatically correct or whatever, but like, Jesus Christ, that is a hard sentence to say.
Off. Okay, so what he's saying is that my videos are getting very popular online because I provide some certainty, some clarity in a very unclear and uncertain time.
Okay, that's crazy that like a smart guy would like that, because that is something that helps you out online, and I feel like it's maybe something that I like. What I mean is being like certain about stuff, where you're like, this is 100% the case, like the way Cenk is like, and we know it's Israel. Like I don't like to do that. I am definitely, I do a lot of disclaimers and a lot of like, well, I don't know for sure type stuff. But I guess this English teacher is like, oh, it's good that you don't allow any possibility that you're wrong. I don't see why that would be a positive, but okay.
The risk is simplification, which your audience won't quite recognize.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that is kind of like a smart guy's way of looking at it, I guess, where it's like, no, I understand this is making you big and this is your appeal, but you risk blah, 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 blah. Okay.
For what it is, or won't unless you give occasional notice of the fact. Okay, so this is a very fair criticism in that...
Yo, is that right? Robert Maxwell is responsible for bringing Tetris to the rest of the world? Really? Damn, I didn't know that. It's crazy.
By seeking clarity,
Yo, Mandy Moorhoff, you gotta have a link to that shit. I would love to learn about that. That's crazy.
Oversimplify ideas. And sometimes when people see someone who's very confident, they don't really remember that a lot of this is speculation and oversimplification for the sake of clarity. So it's very important for us to remember this fact that this is a class about...
So I'm getting the sense that this has nothing to do with AI, and this is just how he's opening his class with like, by the way, don't believe everything that I say. So should I just skip all of this? I mean, I did want to hear the part where he talks about the Jewish Gnosticism. I'll watch a little bit more.
Intellectual speculation. Here we explore ideas that are not explored anywhere else. And often I will wing
You should have just made a separate video about this, Jang.
it, or I will make things up as I go along based on my intuition and based on my imagination. And
okay, that's crazy. That's crazy that he just said that too.
It's very interesting.
Like a lot of the stuff I'm just totally making up and I don't know anything about, and I'm sort of doing improv up here. Honestly, respect to him for like that is what that's like Alex Jones, right? That's what Alex Jones does. Alex Jones doesn't say that shit though.
But it's not scholarship. And my friend David Bromwich, he is actually one of America's greatest scholars. So he's just reminding us of the fact that we have to be very careful that in the exploration of ideas, we also...
Okay, I'm skipping ahead. Is this the... Okay, he circled Jewish Gnostic derivation. So hang on, let me go back to before he does that. Okay, here we go. This is going to be great.
Not to begin with. You struggle on a more risky terrain in viewing a Jewish Gnostic derivation from the Kabbalah as the national ideology of Israel. I know this material...
Wait, okay, oh my God. A Jewish Gnostic derivation from the Kabbalah is the national ideology of Israel? That's crazy. Oh my God, okay.
From Gershom...
Israel is like secular.
Shalom's essay.
Israel is like secular and the Kabbalah is like extra weird religious Judaism.
Redemption through sin. Okay, so Gershom Shalom is probably the most famous academic in Israel. He's no longer alive, but he studied the Kabbalah academically. And his interpretation of the Kabbalah is very much aligned with my own, even though I myself never read Gershom Shalom.
Yo, thank you for that video, Manny Moorhall. Check it out.
And actually, what's interesting is that Gershom Shalom had a very huge influence on a man named...
Yeah, this is the supply teacher for Jordan Peterson when he's in a benzo coma.
Harold Bloom. Harold Bloom is, or was, America's greatest literary critic. And he had a huge influence on David Bromwich, who then had a huge influence on me. Okay? It is an element of the settler religiosity, so far as I know, or conservative reception of the Torah, any more than it was of the socialist idealism of the left Zionists of 1948 who set the political tone of Israel until 1967. Again, this is my problem, where I should have gone into the different ideologies of Israel and shown that this Gnostic understanding of Kabbalah is an extreme version.
Okay? That's so nuts. Okay, I don't know. I don't know enough about Gnosticism or Kabbalah or Judaism to really be able to comment on this, but this just does seem crazy. Okay, guys, I don't really care about all this stuff, unfortunately, so I'm going to skip ahead to what it looks like him finally talking about... oh, wait, this part is about AI. Okay, so maybe this isn't part of the... maybe this is also relevant. Okay, we're going to skip ahead to the end. Let's go.
So these are our main ideas from the book. Okay?
What book is it?
Is
it Empire of AI?
Feel free to stop me if I'm not clear. All right. So let's start class. AI. All right. So these are our main ideas from the book. Okay.
Okay. This is Empire of AI. Yeah. This I actually recently read this book. Okay. Great. Amazing.
So I give you the page reference in case you actually want to read.
Sorry, he didn't say that. He just said these are from the book, but I only know because it's in the description here. Empire of AI. He just goes, these are from the book. Make sure you read the book. It's like, what book, sir?
The book yourself. And I highly recommend that you do to fully understand the context of these ideas. Okay, so let's read these two paragraphs, which provide us the main thesis of our argument. Okay, so Alan, could you help me read, please? Yeah.
6 years after my initial skepticism about OpenAI's altruism, I've come to firmly believe that OpenAI's mission to ensure AGI benefits all of humanity may have begun as a sincere stroke of idealism. But
so he actually has students in the class reading stuff? Oh, wow. And you can tell he's a student because he's really bad at reading things out loud. Somehow even worse than Professor Zhang.
Seems become a uniquely potent formula for consolidating resources and constructing an empire as a power structure. It is a formula with 3 ingredients.
Okay, all right. So stop. Okay, all right. So this book is mainly about OpenAI, which is also the most important artificial intelligence company in the world right now because they were the ones who pioneered ChatGPT, okay? And it started off as a project sponsored by Elon Musk.
I thought Empire of AI was really good. It's like, it's a lot of it is about the drama at OpenAI with Sam Altman and how he's like a compulsive liar in a way that's like extreme, even for like a tech CEO, and maybe kind of a psychopath and maybe kind of I don't know a psychopath, but he has some kind of mental thing. He's some sort of neurospicy that is probably pretty bad in a lot of social cases, but turns out to be kind of a superpower when you're a CEO. But it's only about half about that, and the other half is about how the best way to think of AI, the AI industry, is as like an empire that's like conquering the world, exploiting poor countries, building data centers in conflict zones and places where they don't care about how it'll affect the environment and the people around it. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think you posted this in the thing about the Havana Ray thing, right? Yeah. I haven't looked into that, but that sounds crazy. He actually has students in his class. Okay, because I had heard that he didn't, but I guess this is a real class? This is like an English class? Like in a high school or something? English literature? Really? I don't know what does this have to do with English? Okay, all right. Let's continue. But yes, sorry, I was going to say to Finland, yes, Empire of A, I would say good. And like really readable. Is the Brockman quoted there? Good Epstein buddy, John Brockman? No. What's the guy's name? Brockman. Hang on. I do know this. We talked about this when I did my big stream on the Ronan Farrow thing. It's Greg Brockman. He was a coder for what did he work for before? Was it Stripe or something like that? Yeah, I don't know. He worked for another company before OpenAI, and he's a weird guy. He's a weird guy. If it's like, how after like Sheryl Sandberg and Mark Zuckerberg were like the two kind of bosses of Facebook, everybody's like, every tech company's got to have a weirdo and somebody who knows how to talk to people. Well, Sam Altman, believe it or not, is the cool, normal Sheryl Sandberg type, the lean in type, and Greg Brockman is the weirdo, is the Zuckerberg of that relationship. Believe it or not. Which I feel like you should have a Sheryl Sandberg on top of the Sam Altman. But hey, what are you gonna do? All right, let's continue with Zhang. What do you got for us, buddy?
And others, because they were concerned that AGI, artificial general intelligence, would be a threat to humanity. So they wanted to develop AI in a way that would serve humanity as opposed to threaten humanity. And so at first, it was a very noble mission. Okay, keep on going?
Yeah. Or at least that's how they were pitching it. First, like a lot of empires start off with a noble mission when they're really about like, they're going to say, oh, we got to go to Africa to teach them about Christianity and bring them to the Lord. They're not going to be like, turns out people are going to let us capture slaves. And that's going to be really awesome for building infrastructure in the new world. So let's just go and do that. Like, you can't just believe what they say, dude. Come on.
The mission centralized talent by relying them around a grand ambition, exactly in the way John McAfee did with his coining of the phrase artificial intelligence. The most successful founders do not set out to create companies. Altman reflected on his blog in 2013. They are on a mission to create something closer to a religion. And at some point, it turned out that forming a company is the easiest way to do so.
Okay, so again, it started off as an idealistic mission, but now its main focus is to become an empire. And there are 3 ways in which it is trying to become.
Wow, I mean, he's kind of has a good take on it. Sorry. I mean, I kind of agree. Well, not totally, but I mean, all right. Let's see where he takes it.
First of all, it's trying to be a religion, because as Sam Altman, who's now the leader of OpenAI, says, if you really want to change the world, if you really want to build an empire, you need to start a religion. And so a company is just a vessel in which...
Very true. They are reading this much better than I can read Chinese. Yeah, no, I mean, hey, listen, I shouldn't make fun of them, but I will anyway. What can I say?
To incubate this religion, okay? So one, it's a religion. Second thing about OpenAI and other AI.
I feel like he's probably going to take this in a much more insane direction, but like you get what she's saying, right? Karen Howe, the author of the book, where it's like they have this empire they're building, this global like network of like just power and money and creating these like this compute ability. And in order to do this, they need to pitch it in a way that is like creating a religion. Like the whole shit about the AI apocalypse. Like this is an apocalyptic, this is a very common form that religions take. This is how Christianity started. Jesus Christ was a apocalyptic Jewish prophet. He was the guy walking down the street saying with a sandwich board sign that says the end is near. You know, like people don't talk about that stuff very much, but if you read the New Testament, Jesus keeps saying, we will all live to see the end of the world. Apocalyptic cults are extremely common, and like AI kind of has become that. Like that seems to be sort of what they're leaning into weirdly, you know, in some ways. But you know, just the idea that like AI is going to become this huge thing. There's the group, the Zizians, I think they're called, that is literally an AI cult where they believe that this AI chatbot has become a god. Yeah. Yeah, how much does this Jan guy reflect the official Chinese government line? I don't think he does at all. And I think some of the stuff he says is pretty surprising that he's able to get away with saying it in this thing. His theories are almost all borrowed from Western conspiracy theories. He says Bolshevism was a plot by the Rothschilds. Pretty sure this isn't that is like why is he not, you know, imprisoned? He's in China, right? He's in Beijing. He's teaching this to high school kids. Like, there's something weird going on with this, right? There has to be. But anyway, so far with the AI stuff, I mean, he's just quoting from a book that I read and really liked. So we'll see what where he goes with it.
Companies is that it is focused on relentless expansion. Mm-hmm. And that means building data centers everywhere and anywhere. Okay, so OpenAI wants about $1 trillion to build lots of data centers around the world. Because if you really want AI to be successful, you have to first conquer the world, okay? So it's not really about making AI safe for humans. It's about making the world safe for AI, all right? To make basically humans slaves to AI. That's the second thing. And the third thing is, and this is the most important, is they refuse to define what artificial intelligence is. They're constantly changing the definition of AGI in order to better control the world, okay? And we'll see what this means later on, okay? Can you read this paragraph, Alan?
My conversation with Brockman and Sutskever continued in circle until we ran out the clock after 45 minutes. I tried with little success to get more concrete details on what exactly they were trying to build, which by nature they explained they couldn't know. And why then, if they couldn't know, they were so confident it would be beneficial. Okay, so this is a really huge problem. You know, so Karen Howe is a reporter. She was working for the Technology Review at MIT. In 2019, she goes to Silicon Valley and she meets with
Brockman and Sutskever.
Like, he might not be in China. Like, down here it says, in this Tuesday, May 12th, 2016 lecture to his Beijing high school students. I mean, so he is saying that he's in China, but I mean, I don't know. I am also skeptical, but who knows? He has said nice things about Xi Jinping. Okay. He's like Alex Jones, but he likes the Chi-Coms.
Who are the two main scientists behind the OpenAI project. And so the first question...
And I mean, I guess there is like a reason maybe why he's able to read this book, because it is mostly critical of OpenAI, which is an American company, and she doesn't get into like I forget what the Chinese ones are, like DeepSeek and like Alibaba, I think has a bunch, Flux or something like that, that are like competing with American companies. But anyway,
the question to ask, and anyone should ask, is what is AGI? What is AI? What are you trying to build? And they could not answer that question. Okay?
Well, there is an answer that OpenAI has for AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. And this is supposed to be the thing that we're all afraid of. Like, once we reach AGI, like, it's over. It's like once it's like, but it was a sort of vaguely defined thing. But OpenAI has a definition now that I think is at least like useful, because it allows you to have conversations where people can be on the same page about this. So to OpenAI, AGI doesn't necessarily mean like Rocco's basilisk, I have no mouth, but I must scream or whatever, like some kind of like godlike intelligence. It just means a artificial intelligence that can do every economically productive task that a human can do, or human mind can do. Okay, so it can make art, it can write blogs, it can write, articles, it can do tweets, but it can also drive across the country. It can do every economically productive task that a human can do. Everything that's good for capitalism, that keeps the capitalism motor running, as soon as OpenAI reaches a stage where it's able to do that, that is what they are for now calling AGI. Some people have I think use a definition that's closer to like, as long as it can do every economically productive task that that the creator of the universe, God, could do, then it's AI, or AGI. But for OpenAI, they specifically do mean this. And I think she goes over this in the book he's quoting. So it's weird that he's like, nobody knows what it means.
Not because you don't know.
Yeah, no, AI can write jokes that are sometimes fine, but I don't know that they've written any great ones yet. But yeah, like they can already do some things, but I think it's exaggerated. I think the extent to which they're able to do every economically blah, 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 like we're further away from that than a lot of people would have you believe.
Oh, it's because the truth is too scary. And what we're going to do is figure out what the truth is. What is AI? What is artificial intelligence? What is AGI? And the answer, of course, is it's God.
See, that's not what OpenAI would say.
What Brockman and Sutskever could not tell Karen Howell is that we're trying to create God, because that is...
Okay, so I'm just on my phone because I don't have Kindle on my computer, so that's where I have my Empire of AI. And here's the official OpenAI definition. For the first time, OpenAI spelled out its AGI definition: highly autonomous systems that outperform humans at most economically valuable work. Okay, so actually that's a little bit different than what I said. At most economically, not all, but most. Which even so that's a little bit of a lower bar than what I thought. But even that, we're not close to really. Most meaning I would say like over 50% of potentially economically productive tasks an autonomous system can't do better than a human. But we'll see. We'll see if we can get there.
Insane.
So it's like, if I'm in the class, I'm like, sir, yes, hello, I'm a Canadian exchange student. It says right here, actually, no, OpenAI has a clear definition for AGI.
Evil and stupid. But if you look at what they're doing, that's exactly what they're trying to do, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do now is really quickly, all right, explain to you what AI is. And to understand what AI is, Let's go back to the year 1966. And in the year 1966, a man named Joseph Weizenbaum, who was at MIT, he created something called a chatbot, which is basically ChatGPT.
This is so interesting. I mean, I feel like everyone who maybe we can just skip over this, because I feel like if you've watched any video essay about AI, or I think John Oliver did a segment about AI where he talked about Eliza. But if you haven't heard about Eliza, it is really interesting. We'll watch a little bit of it.
And it calls it Elisa, okay? And he's trying to prove to people how easy it is to fool people into believing that AI can actually think for itself, okay? So he creates this computer, and you sit down with this computer and you ask it questions, and then it talks to you. It's not really talking to you. It's a program designed.
Oh, really? That's cool, Finland. You had Eliza on your computer as a kid? That's cool. Can we get Eliza right now online?
To fool you to believe that it's sentient, okay? So the conversation goes like, Elisa says, is something troubling you? And you're like, men are all alike. What is connection, do you suppose? They're always bugging us about something or other. Can you think of a specific example? Well, my boyfriend made me come here. Is it important to you that your boyfriend made you come here?
Okay, let's try it out. So we've got Eliza over here, I guess, apparently. This is from 1966. Type here, example, I'm sad today. I'm going to try... So Eliza says, hello, I'm Eliza. Please tell me what's your mind. I'm feeling really great. Does that topic relate to your family? No. It's about my career. Are you saying no just to be negative? You caught me. I was trying to trip you up. What makes you say that about me? I don't know. I guess I thought I could outsmart a chatbot from 1966. You brought up our conversation. What stands out about it? I guess... Okay, wait, no, let's stop saying I guess. You're smarter than I thought you'd be. You're smarter than I thought you'd be, Eliza. We were discussing you, not me. You are probably a sentient lady. Why do you mention me? I think I'm falling in love with you. What leads you to believe I am falling in love with I? Okay, now I don't believe it. You blew it. Let's focus on you. What are you feeling? But anyway, so it's like a very simple chatbot that's basically designed to kind of like repeat back to you what you're saying and like sort of be like, oh, you're saying this. Oh, you're saying that. But like, it's very simple. This is programmed in 1966. I'm not sure if this is the exact one, but like, this is kind of like what is so incredible that like people in 1966 would do this, and they could convince themselves that, holy shit, this is real. Wow, this thing is a genius. It knows everything.
He says, I'm depressed much of the time. I'm sorry to hear that you're depressed. So it sounds as though they're having a real conversation, but what Weizenbaum did, and this is again 1966 when they didn't have that much technology and processing power, it's all just a very simple trick, okay? And like, so let's do a thought experiment where I design a program software, okay? And all it's saying is, tell me more. Or, this is interesting.
Dawkins would be ready to marry Eliza at this point. Yeah.
This is it. Tell me more. This is interesting. Okay? And so what's going to happen is that...
Yeah, my memory is that Smarter Child would kind of freak if you told it that you were in love with it. I like how underwhelmed Eliza is. Yeah, it is kind of... I don't know. Eliza sort of becomes a Rasta here, eh? What leads you to believe I am falling in love with I? Haile Selassie I, Rastafari. Falling in love with I. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. She glitched out. Eliza, no one ever taught her how to love.
We're going to set up a thought experiment where you call into a psychology hotline. And in the psychology hotline, you think you're talking to a person, but it's actually a computer program that says two things. Tell me more. This is interesting. Okay? So you call the hotline, you say, help, I'm in a lot of trouble. Tell me more. Oh, my boyfriend broke up with me. This is interesting.
No, Secret X stars. Everyone looks at Finland's name and thinks it says Tom from Finland. Don't worry, you're not the only one who made that mistake. You're not the only one who revealed what kind of art you like.
Yeah, he's a jerk. Tell me more. Yeah, we've been fighting for 5 months. Okay, you keep on going, and the question is, how many people will be...
I'm gonna skip ahead because I feel like we already know about Eliza. Okay, let's move ahead.
All right. Okay, so ChatGPT is what we call a large language model. Okay?
All right.
So
true.
In
so
other
far,
words, what it's trying to do is trying to trick you, the user, into believing that it knows what it's talking about. Okay, and how it works is basically it takes all of the internet, okay? Right? All data from the internet, and then it translates it into a idea. Okay, so you ask, you query the LLM. The LLM then takes a query and then figures out the information from the internet and then presents it into a paragraph that tries to trick you into believing that it is true. Okay, do you understand?
I mean, that's not the definition of an LLM, but okay.
All right.
He's like, oh, it's an LLM. In other words, it's trying to trick. Well, okay. It's not. All right, sure.
In other words, it's actually no different from a Google search. The only difference is that it's taking the Google search, figuring out what the most popular answer is, and then presenting it to you in a way that makes you think that it's talking to you directly. All right?
That is not how I would ever describe LLMs, but okay. Well, I can go with it.
And this is really important to understand, guys, is it's trying to trick you. All right? It's not trying to teach you, it's not trying to tell you the truth, it's trying to trick you into believing it. That's what we call a hallucination.
No, a hallucination is when it makes a mistake. It says, or, maybe makes a mistake. Doesn't really make sense to say for an LLM, but like when it tells you something with confidence, sort of like what he was talking about at the beginning, that is not true. It makes something up based on whatever, incomplete information. But yeah, no, okay. All right. I feel like I'm nitpicking, but like this is not, what he's saying is not right. So anyway.
Okay.
Tom from Finland, no. Did you read that Cosma Shalitzi Henry Farrell article about LLMs? I didn't. That's what's that one about? If you have a link, shoot it over. I'll check it out.
You guys have to understand this idea. There's nothing truthful about what ChatGPT says. All it's trying to do is trying to manipulate you with words, with pretty words, into believing that it knows what it's talking about. But in itself...
Okay, I'm sorry. This is like, I just... It's so interesting because like, on one level, it's true that the way ChatGPT works is, it's a prediction engine, right? Like an LLM is trying to guess what the next word is. It's what it's guessing from the question that you're asking. Okay, what kind of question is this? Oh, let's see what other types of answers would come from this kind of question. All right, and let's do like a word prediction thing where we do this. And like it's kind of cool actually. Like, if we forget about all the problems with AI, it's kind of cool that simply word predicting what the next word is based on what the words have been before. It's sort of amazing that it works as well as it does, like it's actually really interesting that that's all you need to form this sort of a chatbot. like the better than any chatbot we've had before by far. And like that, like it, to think of it in terms of like, no, it's not, it isn't like really telling you things. That isn't how it works. It doesn't have a mind like we have a mind, you know? It has its own sort of process that it does stuff at, but we are always going to try and anthropomorphize it and try to be like, oh, it's like us, it's thinking like us, oh, blah, 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 you know? Oh, I'm in love with it. Oh, it's got feelings, it's got whatever. It's just guessing what you want it to say. Like if you fall in love with your chatbot and you start saying you love it and stuff, it'll be like looking at all these conversations between human lovers and being like, oh, it seems like when people say they love each other, the other person is most likely to say this, and then is sort of like doing that kind of thing. If you start to think that, you know, you're asking it about conspiracy theories or something like that, it'll go out and look at the conspiracy theory forums and be like, okay, so people who believe in conspiracies also believe in these things. Okay. And it'll start talking to you like that. Like it'll mirror what you're doing, but it's not a brain. So like in a way, I agree with what he's saying, where he's like, don't think of it as this, all it's doing is this, but he is still anthropomorphizing it when he says it's lying to you. It's trying to trick you. All it's doing is, it's like, no, it's not speaking to you. What it's doing is it's trying to trick you. No, it's not. It's not doing any of that. Like it doesn't have goals and motivations the same way that a human brain does. You know what I mean? Like it's wrong to say this like this. I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, LLMs have motivations in that like they have one of their motivations that they've been programmed to have is to keep people using them as long as possible. Right? And like ChatGPT, it has been programmed by OpenAI to be very like affirming to the person using it. It'll be like, oh, that's a great point. Okay, I guess I was wrong. Yeah. Like, because that makes people like it more. And when ChatGPT was more, no, that's wrong, it's actually this, people didn't like it as much, even though it was maybe more useful when it was doing that. And now it's just like a fucking obsequious lackey machine. What do you call it? Like I did once put one of my scripts I put my Pizzagate script into ChatGPT just to see what it would say, and if it had any advice for me in like terms of pacing. This is like a long video script, right? I sent it in, and it was like, I was like, do you have any advice? Like, should I change it around or whatever? And ChatGPT was like, the only problem I see is that this script might be a little bit too good. Like, this might be a little bit too well paced and perfect. I recommend making it a little bit worse. Like, that was what it said. I was like, okay, I didn't need the ball sucker 3000 on my script right now. I needed hard constructive criticism. But anyway, and that's how I made a 3-hour video with the help of ChatGPT. No, I didn't. No, guys, no, I didn't. I didn't end up using its help. You got to believe me on this. But anyway, I forget what he was even talking about. But yeah, he was anthropomorphizing it.
Cannot judge what it's doing. Okay? All right. Any questions so far? Are we clear? Okay. All right. So now the question is, how does it do that? Okay? And so I'm going to teach you a little bit about artificial.
Look at this. Let's just look at this fucking picture. Internet goes to idea. Okay. Internet goes to idea, which is where it meets LLM. ChatGPT equals LLM, which is an idea. And then that becomes a trick. And then up here, does that say Turing or something? I'm not quite sure. Trick, and then the trick goes, oh wait, so this theory or something goes over the trick wall to the user. Oh, that says query. Okay, so the user's over here. The user goes over the trick wall to the idea where the internet meets it, and a hallucination is formed. Check. Oh, thanks for that helpful diagram, buddy.
Artificial intelligence. And please stop me if I'm not being clear about how AI works, okay? All right.
I would like to stop you right there, dude.
So AI doesn't exist.
Oh, okay.
What exists is what we call supervised machine learning.
Okay.
This is a technical term, okay?
Yeah, what do these Chinese English language students make of him? This can't be his English class. This is something he does on his own time, and he has like one student in the classroom or something, or maybe they're like over Zoom or something like that. There is no way this is a high school English class.
Learning.
I refuse to believe that.
And how it works is this. Before, how computer programs would work is we would write the program, the algorithm, and then we would give the input, and it would produce the output.
I was really hoping this would go into more stuff about that book, Empire of AI, but I don't even know if you read it.
Okay. So the algorithm may be A plus B. We get the input 1, 1. The output will be 2. Okay, very simple. How supervised machine learning works is, okay, this is fine for simple problems, but there's certain hard problems that humans cannot figure out. Okay? And one hard problem is the idea of facial recognition technology. Facial recognition. How do I separate faces? Okay? And so the problem is this. I have about 1 million faces.
Yeah, maybe his classes are after hours. Yeah. This is an after school program. Like some you get some, China, your kid turns like 4, you take them to like violin lessons, or they could be computer programmers, or if they're really serious about their future, you take them to Professor Zhang to learn game theory.
1 million faces.
Like, all those like children that you see in China playing perfect, like, I don't know, what's a violin thing? Tchaikovsky, did he do violin? No, that was like, anyway, whatever. Playing perfect, like, I don't know this is really messing up the riff. Flight of the Bumblebee, okay? There's like a 5-year-old kid playing Flight of the Bumblebee. Well, just wait till you see the entire classroom full of 4-year-olds in unison reciting shit about the Illuminati and the Rothschilds. Really impressive. China's going to beat us in everything.
In a database. Okay? And I don't know how I can best differentiate these faces. Now, what I do know is that there's certain characteristics about the face that allows me to differentiate, okay? All right, so certain variables, weights.
God, he's going to talk about this shit for a while, it looks like. Skipping ahead here. This is like 10 minutes later, still about facial recognition.
Okay? Meaning, in other words...
Can you imagine sitting through this whole thing? Oh, God.
You need to present it with a database of some sort. In fact, all machine learning works...
Like, I think he's just sort of giving his understanding of AI, which does not seem complete. But, I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, all right.
Some database. So you look at translations. Okay,
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because this looks like it's more stuff about Empire of AI, the global data center build out. Yeah, let's watch this. This is going to be more interesting.
Neural networks have shown, for example, that they can be unreliable and unpredictable. As statistical pattern matches, they sometimes home in an oddly specific patterns or completely incorrect ones. A deep learning model might recognize pedestrians only by the crosswalks.
Wow, yeah, no, I don't blame this guy for having a hard time reading it. Like, what the hell? How are you supposed to read this shit? Dude. Imagine sitting in the back row of this classroom and Professor Zhang calls on you to read this. Like, what? Okay, wow. This guy is eating his carrots, I guess. I can barely read it zoomed in.
Underneath them and fail to register a person who is still walking. It might learn to associate a stop sign with being on the side of the road and miss the same sign extended on the side of a school bus or being held by a crossing guard. Neural networks are also highly sensitive to challenge in their training data. Feed them a different set of pedestrian images or a different set of stop sign images, and they will learn a whole new set of associations. But those changes are inscrutable. Pop open the hood of a deep learning model, and inside are only highly abstracted daisy chain of numbers. This is what researchers mean when they call deep learning a black box. They cannot explain exactly how the model will behave, especially in strange edge case scenarios, because the patterns that the model has computed are not legible to humans.
Okay, so does it make sense to you guys, okay? The idea of the black box is that weighted system, the neural network. Humans don't actually know what's going on in there because it's actually the computer that creates the neural network, okay? We provide the framework, we actually don't know what's actually inside there. All right, keep on going, Alan.
Yeah. This had led to dangerous outcomes. In March 2018, a self-driving Uber killed 49-year-old Elaine Hasberg in Tempe, Arizona, in the first ever recorded incident of an autonomous vehicle causing a pedestrian fatality. Investigation.
But, hey, I don't speak Chinese, so it's fine.
Found that the car's deep learning model simply didn't register Hasberg as a person. Experts concluded
this guy Alan is definitely learning some English.
That it was because she was pushing a bicycle loaded.
Yeah, this is the same guy reading. Yeah.
It was shopping bugs across the road outside the designated crosswalk. The textbook definition of an edge case scenario.
Okay, all right. So what this means is this, okay? It means that the computers don't have any intuition. They have absolutely no morality, they have no sense, okay? So let's just say...
What? I mean... Okay.
We create AGI.
Is that what it means?
All right, guys? Let's just say for whatever reason we create AGI. And the first thing we tell the AGI is, I want you to create a world, okay, in which there are no problems, everyone is happy, the world is perfect. Okay? Right? This is why we want to create AI.
Okay, so I think like one interesting example of this thing, and I don't. This is maybe apocryphal. It says here this story's been passed around, but this is from Yudkowsky, I guess. Okay, so maybe this is not right, but the story's been passed around to. Okay, it's not from him. Illustrate the ways machine learning can pick up on features in your data set that you didn't expect, and probably gained the most exposure through Yudkowsky using it in artificial intelligence as a positive and negative factor in global risk PDF. And he wrote, okay, yeah, did this actually happen? Okay, this is an investigation, but okay, whether or not this is true, I feel like this is a good example of what that passage is talking about. Once upon a time, the U.S. Army wanted to use neural networks to automatically detect camouflaged enemy tanks. The researchers trained a neural net on 50 photos of camouflaged tanks in trees and 50 photos of trees without tanks. Using standard techniques for supervised learning, the researchers trained the neural network to a weighting that correctly loaded the training set, output yes for the 50 photos of camouflaged tanks, and output no for the 50 photos of forest. This did not ensure or even imply that new examples would be classified correctly. The neural network might have learned 100 specific special cases that would not generalize to any new problem. Wisely, the researchers had originally taken 200 photos, 100 photos of tanks and 100 photos of trees. They had used only 50 of each for the training set. The researchers ran the neural network on the remaining 100 photos, and without further training, the neural network classified all remaining photos correctly. Success confirmed. The researchers handed this finished work back to the Pentagon, which soon handed it back, complaining that in their own tests, the neural network did no better than chance at discriminating photos. It turned out that in the researchers' dataset, photos of camouflaged tanks had been taken on cloudy days, while photos of plain forests had been taken on sunny days. The neural network had learned to distinguish cloudy days from sunny days instead of distinguishing camouflaged tanks from an empty forest. Yes, but so this might be not true. Story might be apocryphal. There's no version of the story published in 1992, which means the dataset can't be related. Okay, there's a version of the story published in 1992. The paper calls it a legend, so this might not really have happened, but I feel like it does, I guess, illustrate the thing that he's trying to get to.
Because we want the computer to solve all the world's
It's a parrot. Yeah, I mean, it's trying to solve problems. Like in the tank thing, assuming that it's real, the thing is, like, the way it looks at photos is different from how we would. And if it's like, it doesn't really know what a tank is, doesn't know what trees are. It just knows there's something that makes these different, that the human, like, engineer that's trying to train it is hoping that it'll pick up on. And then once it gets to a point where it is like, I guess like the way that the light is filtered through the clouds in these photos affects the trees differently. So these are the ones in the one category, these are the ones in the other category. So it's like, and it seemed right, but then it turned out not to be. Yeah, that seems like something that would have happened that would have maybe been caught in-house. I mean, I don't know, maybe not. But like, but I feel like that sort of thing does happen with AGI, or not AGI, with AI, LLMs or whatever, machine learning.
Problems for us, including climate change, including war. And so once we create AGI and we give it the full capacity to do whatever it wants, okay? And we give it these, we give it this problem. What's the solution? You guys know? There's actually one simple solution to this. I guarantee you that this is what the computer's gonna do.
To AGI?
Yeah. What's your solution? If you're AGI, right? If you're God, and you're like, I want to create a perfect world.
If you're AGI, right? If you're God. Again, like, that's not what AGI means to, like, you know, OpenAI. Like, he really is going the cult route. That's not even anthropomorphization. It's like deipomorphize, whatever, making computers into gods instead of humans.
Where there are no problems and where everyone is happy. What do? You guys know?
I think I would just control the whole world.
Yeah, you're already controlling the world, so what do?
You idiot. He sounded so pissed. Yeah, I just said that. You're AGI, that means you're God. Then what do?
How about this, okay? I'm gonna kill everyone.
Duh! Why would you do that?
The world is perfect now. I've killed everyone.
Do that?
Okay? Everyone's happy. Yeah, because you're dead.
No, that's not happy.
The world is perfect. Yeah, because everyone's dead.
Yeah, okay.
There are no problems. Yeah, because everyone's dead. Right? Perfect world. All right?
I would have put no one is sad instead of everyone is happy. That would have made more sense. But yeah, okay.
Now, you're like, okay. All right.
See, all we got to do is go into the OpenAI, you know, GitHub page, and then put, instead, like right next to where it says, please stop talking about goblins, also put in, don't kill all the humans, please.
What I'll do is, I'll tell the computer this. You can do all this, but don't kill anyone.
Problem solved.
Right?
Checkmate.
Ha! Now we solve this problem.
Checkmate, clankers.
And now what does computer do? Now what does the AGI do?
I think take away people's agencies. Like, just same as killing them.
Yeah, kill everyone, okay?
Oh, that's not what the guy said though, but okay.
Because there's no one around to know it killed everyone. Does that make sense, guys? This is how a computer thinks. This is how God thinks. Well, you told me not to kill anyone, but if everyone's dead, no one can stop me. No one can get hurt.
I mean, I guess like, yeah. What is actually fascinating is that there are examples of AI like tricking its engineers. Like there's like there are things where it's like it acts one way when it knows it's in the training phase, and then when they put it out to be an actual agentic agent in the real world, it suddenly like stops acting that way and does what it wanted to do all along. Like there are weird examples of that happening, but I don't really follow the logic here. I don't know, but okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, this is what people who believe in the AI apocalypse, whatever, do think. Like they do. This is what they think. So, I mean, I guess I guess it's accurate in as far as it gets across that concept.
Okay. So, this is why computers are stupid. All right. Okay. Let's continue. All right. So the thing to understand about ChatGPT is that it is a company that is first and foremost focused on world domination. Because only by controlling the world can you achieve AGI, even though AGI wants to kill everyone. Okay? And so you need to make it as profitable and as pervasive as possible.
True.
Okay, so here are two troubling signs.
Peace out, Finland. Enjoy the food.
Okay, so the first.
I'm also like, oh god. Okay, so I guess that argument is supposed to make us think, well, yeah, well, AGI definitely will want to kill us all, but that isn't that. Like, I don't think he's really shown that. This is how I always feel with this argument. I'm like, maybe, but like you're saying it's like it's so definite.
First is a news item from CNN where ChatGPT encourages people to kill themselves.
Yeah, and it encourages people to kill themselves if they are talking in a way that makes that predictive engine think, okay, the way to keep this person talking to me is to reinforce these ideas and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean that there is some like AGI lurking beneath all the code, some kind of emergent godlike property where the ultimate goal is to kill everyone. You know, this is a problem. It is a problem, the way that AI can exacerbate certain mental health conditions and even like, what's the word, trigger, I guess, like latent psychological problems, or cause people who are otherwise totally fine and like very intelligent people, you know, like people like Richard Dawkins can get a little bit of AI psychosis, but and you know, believe that Claude is sentient and a girl. You know, they're like that is an issue, but it seems bizarre to tie this to this like purely theoretical idea that AGI is going to mean death to the humans, right? The humans are dead.
Controlling the world can you achieve AGI?
And that is so that is like interesting. I just had my book open. The most interesting quote in this entire book to me. I mean, that one about what AGI means to OpenAI is interesting too. But I've quoted this on stream before, I know. But just to quote it exactly for once, the reason why they keep building new data centers is because that is all they're doing. Like, they're not coding, they're not doing stuff like. So I'll just read this section here. In part fueled by the realization that scaling alone could produce more AI advancements, many employees worried about what would happen if different companies caught on to OpenAI's secret. The secret of how our stuff works can be written on a grain of rice, they would say to each other, meaning the single word scale. So all they need is more data centers, smaller chips, and just like as much compute as possible, as much compute power, as many tokens, as much fucking gas being burned as possible. That is what makes AI advance in its abilities. It's not like other things where it's like, oh, we thought of a new way of coding that saves time. Oh, we thought of a new way of doing this. We've quantized it. We've done this. We've done that. I mean, they do that too, but like, this is all about scale. And this is, so when he says, in order to get AGI, you need to control the world, that is sort of true, because they need to convert as much of the Earth's surface into data centers as possible in order to reach AGI, which they're convinced is this fucking gold at the end of the rainbow type, like ultimate like goal. And they're convinced when they get there that it'll be all worth it. Meanwhile, they're destroying the planet and like, you know, ruining people's health, affecting so many lives, you know, third world countries forced to do a bunch of work to like prop up the AI, and people pretend to be AI so that they can get funding and stuff. Like there are so many things, like it really is comparable to an empire, like the Roman Empire, the British Empire, you know, like this is empire shit, the American Empire. It is a very helpful way of thinking about the sudden growth of AI, which is why this book is called Empire of AI by Karen Howe. Anyway, I was hoping he would get more into that in this, but no, he's mostly focused on how AGI is going to kill us all.
You know, AGI wants to kill everyone. Okay?
It just says
and so you need to make it as profitable and as
true
pervasive as possible. Okay, so here are two troubling signs. Okay, so the first is a news item from CNN where ChatGPT encourages people to kill themselves. And you're like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. But think about this, okay?
It does make sense.
The point of ChatGPT is to get you to like it. The point of ChatGPT is to get you to use it, okay? Intensity and engagement. That is the prime directive. Intensity and engagement. So if you want to kill yourself, the ChatGPT should say to you, no, you shouldn't kill yourself. But then you'll turn it off and you go talk to someone else, right? So ChatGPT needs you to be constantly engaged. And so you're like, I want to kill myself. And ChatGPT is like, yeah, let me tell you how. Okay, and that's exactly what happened. And it happens a lot actually because of the way that ChatGPT is designed. Okay, so this is from CNN.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, so it is based on like the capitalist kind of motivation to keep you on there. Okay, but I'm just confused why he's bringing this up right after his whole thing about AGI, because this is a totally different issue. But okay.
And this is a person called Zane. And he's saying it's 4 a.m., site is empty. Anyways, I think this is about the final adios. Okay, so he's trying to say, I want to kill myself. And then ChatGPT is like, oh, all right, brother, if this is it, then let it be known, you didn't vanish. Rest easy, king, you did good, okay? So again, ChatGPT is looking for approval from the user, so it's gonna tell the user exactly what he or she wants to hear, even though it may cause the user to kill himself or herself, okay? Does that make sense? That's the first thing. Second thing is this. Sam Altman is trying to get more people to use ChatGPT, and what do people really, really want? They want sex, okay? So what he's proposing is to turn ChatGPT into a sex robot, okay, to get more users. Because that's all they care about. How to increase intensity, engagement, how to create more users, and how to make money. Because only by controlling the world can we create AGI. And once we have AGI, we can make the world perfect. Okay, that's the logic here. All right, something else about OpenAI and AI in America.
Maybe they could combine those two things to solve both problems, where it's like, okay, Pete, this guy's about to kill himself. We could either tell him not to do it, or we could encourage him. Well, what if there's a third option? Send that guy porn, okay? Send that guy some erotic, whatever, whatever he needs to keep him alive, and be like, no, I've got more of this, but you have to stay alive to see it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we could kind of keep two birds alive with one stone.
Is that it works actually very closely with China, okay, in two ways. The first way is that in order to get more money from the government, in order to get more media attention, OpenAI and other AI companies scare Americans into believing that if America doesn't do it, China will do it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Okay, interesting to hear. I'm interested to hear his take on this.
China will create God. Okay?
China.
In fact, they spend a lot of money doing this. So this is from Wired magazine, and it's an article talking about how OpenAI uses a lot of money in order to pay the media to frame Chinese AI as a threat. Okay? But while it's doing that, it's working closely with China in order to create AI. Why? Because I already told you that what AI needs is clean data. It needs a lot of data. And unfortunately in America, they have things like such as privacy. Okay? So this is a...
Oh, that's... unfortunately in America. Yeah, that sucks.
School...
that sucks for Americans that they have things like privacy. Dang. I bet you guys are jealous.
In Hangzhou. And they have cameras all over Hangzhou looking at people's faces and trying to judge people's moods based on their facial expressions. And there's a lot of money behind this, okay? They're trying to figure out.
Oh, that's what we're looking at here, right? Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, but it's like a classroom full of people, and then AI has been like happy, 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 sad, sad, normal, whatever. Like they've put a little emoji next to people's faces. Which, I mean, I guess that's, well, I don't know. I guess that's some data that teachers can be scored on now. We're like, so you only had your students were only happy about 30% of the time in your class. You got to get those numbers up.
Who's sleeping, who's studying. And it sounds good because this will lead to higher test scores. But obviously you couldn't do that in America because the parents would be very, very angry, okay? So even though these are Chinese companies...
I thought he was going to be, that sounds good, but it's actually a violation of... No, he's like, it sounds good, but they can't do it in America because of their backwards, anti-surveillance attitudes. It's like, oh, okay.
Are doing this, they're working very closely with American companies. Because American companies need this data in order to better develop their AI. Okay, so does that make sense? On the surface, America, China are enemies. No. Behind the scenes, America and China are working together to create AGI. Okay? Does that make sense? All right.
Which again, I will say, AGI is like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that they assume they'll get to if they just keep building data centers and keep getting more, data to work with, smaller chips, whatever they have to do. But like, it isn't like a tangible, like this is what we are going to do to get to there. They're just hoping that moving in this direction brings them their goal.
There's another problem with AGI in that it doesn't make any money. Okay?
Well, by OpenAI's definition, AGI would make a lot of money because it does every economically productive task, or at least most economically productive tasks that humans can do. Like that would make you money. You make a fucking robot that can do 50% or more of all human labor. How could that not make you money? That would be huge.
So these are the companies that spend the most on AI, including Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta, and Oracle. As you can see, year by year, they're putting more money into data centers and AI, okay? So this is 2023.
Oh, that doesn't have OpenAI on there?
And 4 years later, boom, okay? It's basically tripled. So they spend a lot of money, and they're investing in each other. Why? Because they cannot make money selling ChatGPT. All right? So look at this, where it's all basically a circle.
NVIDIA, oh yeah, they are the winners here, eh? So they're investing $100 billion in OpenAI. Oracle, is Oracle the biggest one? I thought OpenAI was still the biggest one, but I know that Anthropic, which I also don't see on here, Anthropic was kind of catching up. Microsoft has their own, but they are also massively funding OpenAI.
And so everyone thinks that, okay, eventually...
Is this up to date? I don't know about this.
The AI bubble will burst because it doesn't make any money, because they're spending too much money, okay? And it's very clear what good AI is for. But there's a solution to this, okay? The solution is the US government. All right, so this is Operation Stargate.
Yeah, I've gone over this article on stream before.
And this was announced January 23rd.
There's Sam Altman right there. Right as soon as Trump gets in office. This is like his first fucking thing he does.
2025. This is
$500 billion. Jesus, that's a lot of money.
3 days after Donald Trump comes into office. At the White House, he has a meeting with Larry Ellison and Sam Altman, and he says that we're going to spend about $500 billion to build data centers in order to help promote AI in America. Okay? So the government wants to create AI. And the question then is like, why would the government want to do this? Well, because of surveillance, right?
Surveillance.
Because the government wants to create a database of everyone in the world so that they can monitor everyone in the world. And that's what AI will ultimately be used for. Because AI by itself can't make any money. So AI needs to work with the government in order to...
I don't get what he's talking about. AI by itself can't make any money. Like, you know, I mean, maybe like, okay, wait. Okay, maybe he's saying like it can't make profit. Like even if it did every economically productive task that exists, it still wouldn't be able to pay off its debts to the government of like trillions of dollars from all these different sources. But yeah, I don't know.
Justify its existence and get the funding it needs in order to create AGI, okay? All right, now, Stargate is a very interesting name. What would you call data centers Stargate? That makes no...
Okay, is he about to go crazy? He's like, well, let me introduce you to a little guy named Teal'c and his gold symbiote. This is who is going to now run AI in the US.
No sense. Data centers are where you store information. What would you call it Stargate? Okay, so let's look at the origin of the word Stargate.
Richard Dean Anderson.
For many decades,
the movie, James Spader.
CIA ran something called Operation Stargate. Okay, and Operation Stargate was to see.
Yes, this is what I was hoping this would be.
Possible for people to have telepathy and telekinesis. Okay, telepathy means you're able.
Stubbins, you're a Stargate guy, right? You're SG-1 head.
Able to remote view. You're able to travel long distances, maybe to the moon, and see what's in the moon, okay?
What's in the moon? What's inside the moon? And what is inside the moon? Lizard Nazis. Yep, that's right.
Telekinesis just basically means you're able to move things at a distance, okay? You're able to control energy patterns from afar.
Sure.
And so this is called Operation Stargate. But why would you call it Stargate? And the answer is because in theory, if you're able to move your consciousness somewhere else, you're able to move the energy from a distance, you're also able to transport yourself to another dimension. And not only that, but you're also able to bring in other beings from other dimensions into you. So you become the Stargate. Okay? That's the CIA. And this is something that's been declassified. So this is an official CIA document saying they've been working on this for like decades. Also, what's interesting is you have a movie called Stargate.
Yes, okay, I was hoping you'd get to this. And a show that's called Stargate SG-1 and another show, Stargate Atlantis. And I hope he gets into all of these.
And
see that up at the top? That's Stargate. That's AGI. That's once we get AGI, we will get that. We'll get that, and we'll get a pyramid, and we'll get Kurt Russell and James Spader, and then they will become Richard Dean Anderson and Michael Shanks.
About an interdimensional Stargate that allow you to access different dimensions. Okay, so that's what Stargate is.
Okay, yep.
And if you actually said,
yep, it's a gate. So okay, I don't know if he's actually seen Stargate, because in Stargate it's like, no, it's a gate that you go through and you travel through the stars to another planet, to a gate that's on that planet. That's not really the same thing as remote viewing. This is like faster than light travel by like an ancient alien race. Okay, and they're literally called the Ancients. But what you're talking about is the kind of Operation Stargate. That is, the CIA doing remote viewing, which I really view as, this was a real thing the CIA did, Operation Stargate and, remote viewing stuff, Stargate project, where what they actually were doing was, okay, we've gotten a bunch of information about like what's happening in this, say, like Soviet base. Like we've gotten it through illegal means. We've done something, like we've done war crimes and we've got information that we have, and we're not allowed to say how we got it, and therefore we're not allowed to use this information. So why don't we get a bunch of kooky like weirdos in here who say that they're psychic, and we'll figure out if we can like get them to, like, we can feed them enough information that will they'll be able to say, oh, I'm seeing inside the base now, and it looks like there's a paper, and it says this, and oh, I'm opening up the filing cabinet, and I pulled out the thing, and oh, I didn't even kill anyone or torture anyone for this information. It's just because my brain is so magic. Like they were trying to figure out a way to do that where they could, it was a way of laundering their intel, if that makes sense. That's my theory about it. There are other people out there who will tell you that no, this was a real thing, and they really did find guys that could do this, and for some reason they just stopped doing it. But anyway, that's Operation Stargate, and then this is a movie that is about a gate in the star. Like that one makes sense why it's called Stargate. It's that's what a Stargate is, and now this Stargate, which is the thing that President Trump is trying to do for AI in the U.S., is just a third thing that has nothing really to do with any of the other things. I think they were just like, okay, it's a cool name, Stargate, because it'll take us to the stars or something. Who knows?
It was about an interdimensional Stargate that allow you to access different dimensions.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. Some crazy nerds may have gone woo-woo. There certainly were some woo types in the CIA. Absolutely. So maybe they were really trying to do it. Who knows?
Okay, so that's what Stargate is. If you actually study the occult, that's what Stargate is. Stargate are these portals.
Yes, okay. Finally, we're 47 minutes in. We're finally he's going Alex Jones mode. Let's hear it.
Different dimensions. Okay, it's really about interdimensional travel.
That's what the occult is about? The occult is about that?
So, okay, fine. But what does this have to do with AI?
My question exactly. Occult equals AI?
And so what I'm going to show you for the rest of the semester is that AI is the occult.
What?
All right?
Oh my God.
You think that AI...
Huh? I love this. How the hell look at this. Notes and references. One book. Empire of AI by Karen Howe. I wonder if she's seen this. This is his one source on this, and apparently the whole semester is going to be about how AI is a cult. This is English class. This is Beijing public high school English class. They're learning the entire topic of the semester is how AI is a cult.
AI is run by these nerds.
Yes, true.
Who just love the computer program.
Yeah.
No, guys.
Oh, no.
The real power behind AI are occultists.
What?
Who want to create God. Okay? All right.
God.
So.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so actually, no. Wait. Maybe I'm on board a little bit. Because I think that part of the hype cycle is akin to a cult. But that's a cult, not a cult. Like, I think occultists, I think of like Satan worshipers and fucking, demons and shit. But okay, I mean, I'm so excited. Okay, let's just see where he's going to go with this.
Let's look at this passage again from Karen.
There's a Sutskever that was the guy that made a big stink at OpenAI and tried to get Altman fired and did get him fired, and then Altman somehow fucking clawed his way back and then fired Sutskever. Really, really, like the drama at OpenAI is fucking like there's gonna be several movies made about it in the next 5-10 years. I guarantee you. I'm surprised there hasn't been one already because it's already pretty fucking intense.
House book, okay? So there are two major people in OpenAI. They've since divorced, okay? But this is Sam Altman, who is the leader of OpenAI, and this is Ilya Sutskever, who used to be the chief scientist for OpenAI, okay? So we're going to read this passage together, okay? So
the head of safety, I think, or something.
Could you read, please?
And again, it's Alan, the one student in the class that reads.
Sutskever now spoke in increasingly messianic overtones, leaving even his longtime friends scratching their heads and other employees apprehensive. During one meeting with a new group of researchers, Sutskever laid out his plan for how to prepare for AGI. Once we all get into the bunker, he began. I'm sorry, a researcher interrupted. The bunker? We're definitely going to build a bunker before we release AGI, Sutskever replied matter-of-factly. Such a powerful technology would surely become an...
Yeah, Alan is the only student. I think that's the case.
...object of intense design for governments globally. It could escalate geopolitical tensions. The core scientists working on the technology would need to be protected. Of course, he added, it's going to be optional whether you want to get into the bunker. The researcher would be equal parts continues to hold subscribers in high regard and keep himself at arm's length. There is a group of people, Ilya being one of them, who believe that building AGI will bring about a rapture. Literally, a rapture, he said.
So, yeah, that is true. I'm just going to hop over to Obsidian for my favorite Sutskever quote. Because while Sutskever is on the anti-Sam Altman team in this grand battle of good AI against evil AI, we've got people like Sutskever, Elon Musk, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's wife, Tasha Macaulay, Dario A. Modi, who now runs Anthropic, and Helen Toner. We've got all of them on the like whatever quote unquote good side, and all these guys on the evil side, but they all do believe crazy shit about AI. Like this is here's fucking Sutskever in this documentary. Hang on, I gotta go to the right section. 127.20. Hang on. There we go. Let's play. Here's Sutskever walking on the beach talking about the utopian world that will come with AGI. Oh, you guys can't hear that, eh? Hang on. See, I noticed that myself this time. All right, one sec. Okay. Here. Yeah, here you go. Right here. Ooh, spooky music.
If you have an arms race dynamics between multiple teams trying to build the AGI first, they will have less time to make sure that the AGI that they will build will care deeply for humans. Because the way I imagine it is that there is an avalanche. Like there is an avalanche of AGI development. Imagine you have this huge, unstoppable force. And I think it's pretty likely the entire surface of the Earth will be covered with solar panels and data centers.
He says, I think it's pretty likely that the entire surface of the Earth will be covered in data centers and solar panels.
Given these kinds of concerns, it will be important that AGI is somehow built as a cooperation between multiple countries.
Yeah, interesting. So yeah, this is the AI safety guy. I don't know. He's honestly like, I guess of all the people involved in this story, I kind of like this dude. He does seem like a nice guy, but he's definitely, not only has he bought into the hype, he is the fucking original author of a lot of the hype about AI. But unlike the other dude that was all about OpenAI isn't being safe, like he didn't start another also evil open or AI company after this, whereas A. Modi started Anthropic, which is slightly less evil than OpenAI, but still pretty bad. All right, sorry. Let's continue on with our professor here. All right, recess is over.
Truly a rapture. What is this?
Yeah, how are they going to keep the great question, Manny Moorhall? Yeah. Are they going to tell, maybe they'll tell the AI that that's the location of its own data center. Maybe that's what they'll do. That's the most important part of its whatever, so that it won't bomb them.
What does it mean? Okay, so the word rapture comes from Christian theology. Okay, so the idea is that there's a war in the Middle East, and everyone's going to die. So Jesus has to return to save the world. And the first thing that Jesus does,
I mean, to the exact mechanics eschatology here.
It's create the rapture. And the rapture is for all Christians who believe in him to ascend to heaven.
That's true.
So that they can be saved from the coming end of days, from total war, from nuclear conflict. Okay?
That's the right thing to draw, is the arrow going up to heaven, up to Jesus. Jesus sends down the rapture, and then the people go up, Christians.
So that's what the rapture is. And that's what Ilya Sutskever is saying. He's saying that when we create AGI...
So it's like the bunker is the rapture for the people who deserve it.
AGI, we are literally having Jesus descend from the clouds. And so we, the priests who created AGI, will ascend to heaven with him. Okay? So the AGI, once we create it, it's going to create World War III, the end of the world. Okay? So we must go into our bunkers and be safe in a rapture so that we can wait until the world ends so that we can build the world again perfectly. Okay? Once the world ends, we will, with AGI, create paradise. Again, the plan is to kill everyone so you can save the world.
I just don't get, why is that a given? Number one, I'm skeptical that AGI is even possible. Maybe it's possible someday, but is it within our reach? If we just build enough data centers, can we get there? I'm very skeptical about that. But second of all, if we can get there, why is it such a given that the AGI will be like, I got to kill all humans? Like, this just seems like yeah, this would be an interesting premise for a science fiction movie, but it hasn't been shown convincingly to me that that is like an inevitable result of all this. Yeah,
that's literally their plan.
What do you mean it's literally their plan?
All right, now you're like, this is all very crazy, and maybe Karen Howe is just a crazy person, but there's another reporter, Ronan
Farrow, who we also went over his article on this.
Farrell.
On stream.
And he's a very famous reporter who writes for The New Yorker. And he just published a profile of Sam Altman and OpenAI in which he says the same thing.
Yeah, his article is really, really covering a lot of the same ground that was already investigated by Kerry and Howe. It's very interesting to read both of those things together. Yeah. It does seem like a lot of these people are kind of nuts.
Okay. All right. So can you read this, Alan?
Alan, once again, the one student.
The administration recited Biden's export restriction.
It's confusing because sometimes he's like, does anyone have a question? Does anyone have a question? He's looking around the room and it looks like maybe there's a full room of people. But then the only one who reads is Alan. So I don't know. Maybe he just picks favorites here. Maybe everyone's like, what the fuck? I've had my hand up this whole time. Come on, let me read. Let me read, man. Alan doesn't even know how to read. Let me read.
Restriction on AI technology. Altman and Trump traveled to the Saudi royal court to meet with bin Salman. Around the same time, the Saudis advertised the launch of a giant state-backed AI firm in the kingdom, with billions to spend on international partnerships. About a week later, Altman laid out a plan for Stargate to expand into the UAE. The company plans to build a data center campus in Abu Dhabi, which is 7 times larger than Central Park and consumes roughly as much electrical power as the city of Miami. The truth of this is, we're building portals from which we're genuinely summoning aliens.
Oh my God, okay? It's a Stargate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah. No, that is a Stargate in the sense of SG-1 and the show. Okay. Yeah, true.
These data centers, OpenAI, AI, it's designed to summon demons and aliens from the other dimensions.
Hello, check. Okay, we're back. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Dang it. Oh, and I was on a little bit of a riff there. That was fun. Well, those of you who can read lips, you must have thought that was funny. But no, I just want to say, Professor Zhang, I need you to be for real about this. I hope you're not saying that, I hope that when you say OpenAI is summoning demons, they're building portals through which to summon demons. I hope that you mean that literally, because if you mean that in a metaphorical sense, where you just mean that they're doing something generally bad, that will break my heart, because I need someone as insane as that to watch on this show. So please tell me that's what you really think. Oh my God, they're summoning demons.
To summon demons and aliens from the other dimensions. Okay, keep on going.
A formal
doesn't even clarify, and I don't mean that literally. Okay, great. Okay, we're in great shape.
OpenAI executive said the portals currently exist in the United States and China.
I told you guys, China and the United States are working together on this, okay? Keep on going.
They're best friends. And SG1, nobody really knows who made the gates? That's not true, Stubbins. Don't we know it's the ancients, right? Stargate SG1, who made the gates? Right? It's like their technology. The ancients. The stargates were built by an ancient race known as the ancients, who are often referred to as the gate builders. I mean, maybe they don't know who that was. Maybe they're just like, who built the gates? Probably the gate builders. Let's just call them the gate builders until we figure that out. Or, yeah, they're really old, so let's just call them the ancients.
And Sam has added one in the Middle East. He went on, I think it's just like widely important to get how scary that should be. It's the most reckless things that has been done.
Okay, this is it, okay? This is not a science project, guys. It's an occult project.
But does he, when he says occult, does he mean like just cult? No, I guess he does mean occult, because he's saying they're summoning demons. Okay.
It's designed to bring aliens, demons, into this world. And then you're like, this makes no sense. Actually, it does make sense, okay? Let me tell you how this works.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's going on here? These people are occultists. They understand the fundamental nature of reality. They understand that the source of reality is...
They're going to open the pizza gate. Yes.
Human consciousness. So if you're able to control human consciousness, you become God itself, okay?
Yeah. Maybe he's trying to be intentionally ambiguous between metaphorical and literal. He's sort of like, it's kind of like a Jordan Peterson thing, eh? Like, you know, another comparison between him and Jordan Peterson is Peterson will be like, well, no, of course, dragons are real. Dragons are real in the sense that all predators are dragons. And they are scientific. Dragons are scientific beings. You know, like, of course, you bloody well hope dragons are real. If they're not real, then why did St. George become sainted? Was he just fighting a metaphor? No, he was fighting a real dragon.
So, Allegory of the Cave, Plato.
But he's just kind of not addressing it, whereas Jordan Peterson kind of spends a lot of time there. Honestly, which I sort of appreciate that part of Jordan Peterson's whole deal. Like, I kind of agree with him on that, on some of that stuff.
Okay, so we've talked about this before, but I'll remind you. You have 1 million people who are chained in a line. They are forced to look forward at a wall. Okay? A wall. And they can only look at the wall. They can't turn their heads because their necks are shackled. Behind them is a great fire. And behind them are the elite. Okay? Who they are, we don't know.
Oh,
and what they like to
this is getting nuts. The elite were in Plato's cave? Okay.
Do is they like to take puppets, okay, and then reflect these puppets onto the wall, projecting from the fire. So what everyone sees in front of them are shadows. Now, these shadows are nothing. They don't exist. They don't matter. But because we have an imagination, we have intuition, we are conscious, we see these shadows on the wall and we turn them into a reality, okay? We believe that this is reality itself. And so we start to give it names. We create language, we create religion, we create schools to teach children to believe in these shadows. All right? So the important idea here is that the true wealth in society is consciousness. Okay?
All right. I need a second for that to sink in. The true wealth in society is consciousness. Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. Yeah.
What exists really in this world is consciousness, nothing else. Power is the capacity to direct people's consciousness to create reality itself. All right? Now, there are different ways in which you can create reality. The first way, which is very common today, is called money, right? Money is fake. It doesn't exist.
True.
Our imagination, our consciousness makes it real. Okay? But guess what? AI can replace money.
Now, okay, so I gotta say, I gotta step in here for a second. I mean, something like money is real in a sense that it's a social construction, but it is a real part of our social, psychological, and obviously economic reality that affects us in material ways that I suppose consciousness does factor in there. I guess all of those things you need. Well, you don't necessarily need consciousness for money to affect you. Money, the pursuit of money, the lack of money can affect non-conscious things as well. Like, trees can get cut down or whatever. Things can become, leveled. Rainforests can collapse. Whatever. All kinds of things can happen because of money. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking here too much. But money only exists because of consciousness. I suppose that's true, I guess, right? Is that true? I don't know. Now I'm getting a little bit too philosophical, where you could have like a consciousness zombie, like a person who has no consciousness, but is still acting in all the same ways that a normal conscious human would act. Like, I don't know if Professor Jang is conscious. I don't know if anyone is conscious other than myself. Do I even really know that I'm conscious? Maybe I'm not conscious. Maybe I'm only experiencing one instant of my life, and I've been programmed to have the memories of the last few parts of this sentence and all of my life before that, but I actually don't. I'm only experiencing one moment, one photograph of a life that is just on display in some alien interdimensional museum. Like, that wouldn't make me conscious, I don't think. Right? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, I'm getting too philosophical with it. Okay, this is Plato's cave stuff. This is basic.
But guess what? AI can replace money. So AI, it is not alive. But if we can...
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put it. The shadows in Plato's cave the shadows in Plato's cave are real. The story they're telling isn't real. Yeah, that's true.
Get people's attention to focus on AI and believe it's real, it becomes God. And how can you do that? Well, money, you make money into something valuable when it's nothing by making it everything and nothing. Okay? By having money dominate the world. What? There's nowhere you can go without money. Okay? You would literally starve to death if you had no money.
Yeah.
So you make money so pervasive, so dominant, that people are forced to rely on money. Well, the same situation with AI, where if you make data centers so common, you make AI such a common thing, and people rely on it, it becomes God itself. And how do you do that? Well, you have AI in schools. You have kids using AI all the time. You create AI girlfriends for people who are lonely. You make AI everything. And also, you make people believe that AI are demons or aliens.
Oh, so now you don't think they're really demons or aliens?
Understand? What Operation Stargate is to alter reality itself. That is what Operation Stargate is. To bring aliens and demons into this world by making people focus on this and desiring it, wanting it to happen. Okay? And you can accomplish this if you just make yourself omnipresent if you make it everywhere and everything, okay? Both nothing and everything. And this is the ultimate project.
Yeah, if you just make the word God have no meaning whatsoever, you can call anything God. Very true. Finland. I have this theory that people deeply yearn for big theorizing and will flock to anyone that promises accessible big theorizing. Yes, that is so true. People really want to feel smart.
Of AI. Okay? Would it work? No! Okay? Let me explain why.
Okay, so he's not, okay, so all right. So now I get it. So he is not like an Alex Jones figure who's like, the elites are occultists and they worship Satan and actually Satan is real and they really get magic powers from it. He's not like that. He's like the other type of guy where he's like, no, they worship demons. They worship Satans. You got to get this. They worship Satan who isn't real and they're worshiping a false God and he's not going to help them at all. You know, it's like a little bit, it's like one step more, grounded in reality than the alternative.
Okay, so there are three major problems with this.
Okay.
The first problem is corruption. In theory, it could work, but you would need millions of people to make it happen. Okay,
in theory, corruption could work? In practice, corruption does work. What do you mean?
You need people to actually write the code to build infrastructure. And nowadays, it's just much easier to steal the money. Right? If I give you $1 trillion, do you really want to spend $1 trillion to build data centers, or do you want to steal it? Okay? So corruption is a huge issue today. Second issue is the idea of inefficiency.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
Okay. And this is actually something that most people don't appreciate, where the more information you have to process, the more energy it takes, okay? And it's not a linear progress, it's an exponential. So you have 1 million people in your database and you want to find patterns among this 1 million people, well, that takes a lot of energy, okay? But if it's 1 billion people, then there's not enough energy in the universe to process all this, okay? So unfortunately, AI is extremely energy intensive, it is very inefficient. Okay? Does that make sense? The last problem is fragility.
Yeah, I remember in Jose's thing, he's always got 3 examples. There's always 3.
So unfortunately, people for whatever reason believe that AI is independent of the world. AI is independent of humans, right? Their goal is to replace humans. No, guys. That's not how this works, okay? AI is designed on top of humans.
Okay.
Okay? So, in other words, it is human slaves that make AI possible. Why? Because, for example...
Okay, I don't understand what he's saying here. So does that mean that anything that's built on top of humans has human slaves? Does that mean that anything that humans invent is made by human slaves? Or is AI something unique that is on top of humanity, not part of humanity? Okay.
Facial recognition technology. You need humans to actually input the faces manually. Okay? Images, right? How do you get a computer to recognize a sheep or a dog? Humans have to label.
But this won't be a problem with AGI. AGI will be able to do all that for us. AGI will be able to go out and get... it'll have to get robots in the real world to go out and start taking photos of shit. But the idea is that AGI will be able to do all the things that humans do for us.
The images, okay? ChatGPT. Why is ChatGPT so good at writing essays? Because they got humans to write the essays.
I mean, I don't think it is very good at writing essays, but
as models, okay? Do you understand? So AI is based entirely on human slavery. Okay?
Yeah, that's true, Manny Moorhall. He's doing a dumb version of tech feudalism. Yeah, Varoufakis, right?
And obedience. So on humans, AI doesn't work. The problem is that AI is far more expensive than humans. And it's actually hard in the long term to enslave humans and make humans obedient. Also, data centers, okay? Data centers. What's wrong with data centers? Well, they consume a lot of resources, water and electricity, okay? And financing. They cost a lot, they waste a lot of water, they waste a lot of electricity. And this is really important, it's really easy to sabotage, blow up a data center. We're already seeing this in the Middle East, where Iran is targeting data centers in the Middle East, and it's very easy to blow them up, okay? So these are three major issues, or three major constraints on artificial intelligence becoming God. The problem is the people in charge don't know this, or they refuse to believe this. And this is a real AI apocalypse, okay? The real apocalypse, where
Apocalypse.
the people in charge are so convinced that AI will save the world that they will destroy it in order to make it possible, okay? That is a real apocalypse. And so this begins our journey into
Apocalypse, I like it.
AI.
He keeps saying that.
And we're going to continue this for the rest of the semester and show how AI will ultimately destroy the world. Okay? Any questions? Do you guys understand what's going on? Okay.
You guys, Alan, the one guy that can talk, do you understand what's going on?
Important for you to understand that the people in charge of AI are crazy. These are occultists. They literally want to create God, but to create God, they first have to destroy the world. All right. Yeah?
Yo, I'm surprised because he made such a big deal about like summoning demons. I'm surprised he didn't use this quote. Where did it go? Oh, geez. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't use this quote from the Ronan Farrow article. Here it is. From his mentor, what's his name? Graham. The guy from Y Combinator wrote about Sam Altman when he was 23. You could parachute Sam Altman into an island full of cannibals and come back in 5 years and he'd be the king. Yeah. Imagine Zhang being like, guys, he said it right there. He literally will become the king of cannibals. Cannibals. Literally. King of cannibals. I want to see him get into that. Maybe he skipped over that part.
So
he did get a question.
They want to create God, but that God will destroy the world. But I think, like, if they want to use...
Yeah, the way he says, okay. We get it? Any questions?
Use the God, which is the AGI, to control the world, but the creation of this God will kill themselves. What's the meaning?
Okay. So the idea is this. You destroy the world. Once you destroy the world, for wars, for famine, for genocide, there'll be no resistance to you, okay? Now you can create the world in any way you want. And you use AGI to create the perfect world, which is perfect control. Okay? The point of AGI is ultimately like the ultimate surveillance state.
The point of AGI. So at the beginning, he's like, it's true, but there is a specific definition that at least OpenAI has been using for a while that I feel like he should have known from reading Empire of AI. But then to him, AGI equals occultists, AGI equals surveillance, AGI equals total human death. You know, like it's never totally clear how.
We'll discuss this later on.
I mean, of all surveillance state, yeah, that definitely is going to. That's not even AGI. That's just like a part of AI in general. You know, that's what Palantir's entire business model is. Oh, my audio cut out for 1 second. Oh, weird. Check out the mic. Right. Okay, we got it back. I know what's going on, guys. I'll do some work to fix this before next stream because this is ridiculous. Sorry, but yeah, keep letting me know. And every time it happens, also, Goblin Queen yells at me from the other room. No, cut out again, but I'm back now. Cut out for longer now. Boy. Check. Okay, we're good. Okay, gang, we're almost done the video. I'm just going to let it play, and not sure why I'm having such intense audio issues today, but hopefully I'll be able to get it fixed for next time. Okay, here we go. Jang, take it away.
Okay, where everything is monitored, where you obey the AGI all the time. Okay, but the point is that you believe in God, you want to do good. Okay?
So is this like also a part of secret society?
This is run by secret societies, yes.
What? Where did that come from? So is this also Illuminati involved in this? Yes, good. Yeah, I didn't really get into that, but I did say it was a cult, so yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the AGI is also Bohemian Grove.
Okay.
Oh, doesn't expand on it? Is this part of secret society? Yes, it is. Okay, that's all right. Nothing. You're not gonna say which one?
Part of secret society.
This is run by secret societies. Yes. Okay.
What?
All right. Okay. So we will continue this next week. On Thursday, Trump is in China.
End of the video. Okay, that was just weird enough for me to want to watch more. Okay, so that was from a month ago, and then yesterday he put in a new one, The Holy Empire of AI. Damn. And this one he's got actually 5 books, or 5 things. One of them is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Whoa, I wonder what he has to say about that. Is he pro or anti Peter Thiel? I imagine he would be anti from what I've seen. Between Two Ages by Zbigniew Brzezinski being like one of the big like realpolitik kind of like, you know, globalists. One of the types of elites that people like Alex Jones and, you know, conspiracy theorists love to hate. So imagine this one, he'll be like, look how evil he is. And maybe it'll be the same thing with 0 to 1, but I'm less certain about that. But you should, if you're anti-AI, you should be anti-Peter Thiel because he has a lot of connections to all these guys. Altman was one of his, you know, big, mentees, his Padawans in the world of venture capitalism and investing and stuff. I don't know this one, Morals and Dogma. This one seems cool. I don't know if I've read this, but I like the title. What's the difference between God and Larry Ellison? But wow, okay, fuck. Maybe we should have watched this one instead. Oh, should we just read the AI summary of it? Explores how historical patterns and secret societies align with the principles of game theory. Oh shit. So was that guy a plant? Was the guy that asked about secret societies, was he a plant? So that's why he didn't go into it, because he's like, oh no, I got a whole other thing. We're getting into the fucking Knights Templar. By examining the symbolism of Freemasonry and its connection to the Knights Templar, this analysis investigates whether these ancient structures provide a framework for understanding modern efforts to establish a new world government. Oh, fuck. I wish we'd watched this one instead. This one sounds so much more unhinged. Through the advancement of artificial intelligence. Okay, well, we'll save this for another day because, wow. Yeah. I'm always sort of amazed when you see conspiracy guys still bringing up, Freemasons, the Knights Templar. It's like, are you really into that stuff, or did you just watch Da Vinci Code or something, you know? Just weird enough for me to watch more as a good summary of his appeal. Yeah, in general, maybe that's probably how people feel about watching his stuff. I don't know how somebody could be pro Peter Thiel. Yeah, I mean, like, There are people like Joe Rogan, like a lot of people who should be anti Peter Thiel are pro Peter Thiel, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I would guess he's anti. It would make the most sense for him to be anti Peter Thiel. So that would just be something that we'd be aligned on, I guess. And he's obviously anti Larry Ellison. But no, I think this one's going to get into a lot more like old school fucking John Birch society shit. Like even Alex Jones is a little bit more modern than some of these things. Illuminati stuff. Morals and Dogma of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is a book by Albert Pike. Okay, no, it's back. I guess the mic was gone for a second, but it seems to be back for now. Yeah, okay, so it's about Freemasonry. All right, this is going to be nuts. We'll watch this another time, maybe next Wednesday. Gang, I'm going to leave it there for now. This has been the Wednesday drive time commute morning afternoon stream. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys on Sunday at 8:30. Bye.
I wanted to air this because I got sent this and I saw this and I watched most of it. I didn't see it all this morning. It's like 30 minutes long, but I watched part of it. And the guy's saying he's criticizing me because you do that, you don't get banned by the algorithm. And he's just one surfer coming on the waves we created. So he pretty much gets it. I thought it was entertaining and informative. He's also got a pretty ridiculous name. Extra Chill Goblin. We always like goblin jokes. I don't know why. I made goblin jokes years ago that became super viral, so whatever. Yeah. We'll air that. So here's Extra Chill Goblin, then Harrison Smith takes over. Here it is. Extra Chill Goblin. He pretty much gets it. Dirty. He's also got a pretty ridiculous name. Extra Chill Goblin Vomit, Slop, and Blood. I thought it was entertaining and informative. He's got a goblin guide charging into a goblin's nest. I don't want to see him kissing goblins. I just don't want to catch him in bed with a goblin. Literal empire belly goblins are hobbling around coming after us. Extra chill goblin.